Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Grateful that you guys are here with us. Did you see this over the weekend, y'all? For many ordinary Ukrainians who are trying to escape the war, they're finding it very hard to get to safety. So let me give you some numbers here. More than 1.5 million refugees have made it out, but some who are on their way are coming under fire, like you see here, by Russian troops, including women and children. There was this horrible video that went viral of a rocket attack on civilians who were on an evacuation route to safety. There it is, you see there. And unfortunately, some Ukrainians in that rocket attack were killed. Let's talk about refugees and what it means and what we're seeing here, because we estimate there's going to be about 5 million or more refugees. Right now we have 1.5 million coming out of Ukraine. What do you think, Erica?
I don't know if I am the appropriate person to speak on refugee situations. You know what, Jeff, I'm going to defer to you.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm the expert in this
well,
department either.
Expert. I just, you know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to comment on the videos. I think it's crazy that we're seeing this play out in real time with social media, right? I also find it interesting. I was watching over the weekend some news programs and finding it that Russia is blocking Facebook and blocking international news to its country. Very conveniently, right? Because all of these videos that we're seeing now, maybe some Russians that are being captured, treated kindly and saying maybe not have the appropriate information that they should have.
Exactly.
So I find that very interesting. I wanted to focus on that. The refugee situation is interesting because how many other surrounding countries could take in 5 million people until we have to start stepping in, allowing people into our borders as well. So speaking of pitching in as a world, or if you just want to look at the NATO countries, we're going to have to pitch in at some point. We're going to have to bring some refugees over to our country, I would assume.
Absolutely agree. And I did see a video of Berlin, people in Berlin, as Ukrainians got off the train, holding signs saying how many rooms they have for people. And it's just been overwhelming. There's been it's more complicated than that, I agree. But it was interesting to see that they're trying to shut down social media, and it's crowdsourcing. You can't shut it down when it's real. Yeah. And again, we're hearing it's 4 million refugees, not 5 million that we're expecting, I guess. All right, in the midst of this war, an American has become trapped in Russia. Two-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA star Brittany Griner has been detained in Russia. So Brittany was arrested on drug charges after authorities found a liquid vape pen that they said contained cannabis oil. In the offseason, Brittany plays for a Russian team. Now her friends and family are demanding her release, and a lot of people fear she could become, my first thought, a pawn between Russia and the U.S. What a perfect thing Putin would want. Am I right? To use someone famous as a pawn. Erica, what do you think?
I can't even. This is keeping me up at night. This is keeping me up at night. Brittany, first of all, we have to be very honest about what this situation is. Political pawn is at best. Prisoner of war is at worst. Either way, it's not a great situation for her. I don't believe we just had this whole conversation about Russia completing and changing the narrative. I'm not going to believe anything as to how and why she was detained until someone who actually sees her as a human being who needs to have this moment for people to support and rally to make sure that she comes back home has the floor. Because I find this whole thing to be incredibly suspect. She has been, most accounts are saying she's been over there for 3 weeks, and we're just finding out about this weekend. She is not a priority. Let's be very clear. She's not a priority in this country, period. As a black, queer person, she's not. And the idea that it's been 3 weeks and we're just finding out about it, and I can understand, like, there have been a lot of speculation, and I don't want to overstep, but some people have speculated that this was very quiet because they were trying to get her out safely and quietly.
Sure.
But it's been 3 weeks, and the news cycle has gone on to something completely different. Not that it doesn't need to be addressed, but she's not a priority. We need to make her a priority. We need to be saying something about Brittany Griner being in Russia during a time of war. Who's heard from her? Who has seen her?
Right.
Like I had nightmares all last night about this. What could possibly be happening to her? This is like, honestly, I don't think that we're raising enough hell about her. We need to be raising hell.
Well, I appreciate this so much, and you're informing a lot of people. Just so you know, the drug charges, Jeff, can come with a 10-year sentence. And do I need to remind you that a Russian prison probably has no human rights watching at all? What do you think about this situation?
I mean, it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Given the timing of everything. Right.
And suspect a bit.
It's super suspect.
Because, like, could you have, I'm not saying it's speculative that someone put hashish oil in her bag, but that could have happened knowing Putin. Continue, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if she brought that there herself,
Right,
which would have been a crazy move to bring that to Russia. I don't know what's going on over there. I think, like Erica said, we need to look into this a little bit more. But just the timing of what's going on right now and us trying to negotiate getting someone out of Russia is... I'm with Erica. It's a little frightening because right now isn't the best timing to do something like this, right?
Right.
And also keep in mind, it's the narrative, whatever the narrative. That's why I'm like, I don't believe jack that's coming out of Russia.
Sure. And
Last week we all agreed.
Right.
Last week we all agreed that Russia has some serious human rights violations. They are very generous with the way that they want things to be portrayed, and we all know that. So why are there narratives on social media about what she should not and should have done? We don't even know that to be the truth.
Very true.
So are we selectively deciding if the Russian government is being honest in one case, but not when it comes to Brittany? Because I have no reason to believe that that's the truth.
Especially she's been playing for 3 years in Russia. Right. Like, that just seems, I'm not saying anything, this is, again, all speculative, but I wouldn't put past anything in Putin. The propagandizing, anything can be curated for what he wants it to be.
This is going to be a litmus test for this country.
Wow.
Brittany clearly isn't the typical damsel in distress to be rescued. So now we're going to see what type of value we have on a Brittany Griner.
Well said. And we will keep sounding the alarm here at DBL. Now, we're finally hearing from Sean Penn, who you guys remember was actually in Ukraine reporting on the war as it first broke out. So he told CNN about what he saw. Take a look at this.
I do know that we have to invest everything that we have to support the Ukrainian people and to support President Zelensky, or I do not think we will have a legitimate memory of what America hoped to be.
So, Jeff, you had brought up earlier in another day or two, if America's the world's police, and that's such an interesting geopolitical, philosophical discussion. And here he's saying if we don't step in here, America won't have that reputation anymore. What do you think about that?
I just don't know, Tori, because you want to go in and be the hero, right? But then where does that stop? How many countries do we take over? What's next? North Korea? What's going on there? There's genocide in that country, right? Why aren't we going into there? That's where I get a little shaky. Where does this end? If they get into some NATO countries, and I believe Putin knows that, if they get into some NATO countries, we're going to world war,
Poland,
right? And I don't know if it will be a world war, but we're going to have people, boots on the ground, other countries going in. I think right now it's time for those allies in Western Europe to support their Eastern Europe allies, right? We don't necessarily, as Americans, need to be going in there right now because I feel like that could only hurt us and make things worse, putting fuel on the fire right now. And I know it sounds like a sad situation given all these videos, but we cannot be the world's police.
I mean, that's such a great point. If you disagree or agree, please write us in at YouTube. It's a fair point to bring up.
And our soldiers getting killed, it's just, there's more that goes into it. A lot of people are looking at this like it's a movie, and it's not. Sean Penn's involved, which makes it more like a movie, and it's not.
Very, very well said. Very well said. Let us know what you guys think. Presidents have differed on this. Is America the world's police or not? This is a philosophical discussion, and we want to know what you all think. Coming up on DBL, uplifting moments in Ukraine, from love prevailing to music, making people smile. We're sharing it all coming up next. Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again, recording his own mask rant. We'll show you what went down inside a museum.
Closed captioning provided by
Hey Taylor, we're talking a little bit more about Brittany Griner and how what scares me. Remember when I had my friend Brian Fenster, who was trapped and taken, and I had his brother on, and he was a journalist and was taken, and it was like as much a noise as we could make, we would make the most amount of noise. Petitions, Joe Biden, anybody. Finally, it came down to like the New Mexican old governor, Richards, to come in, and he finally got out. But she's absolutely right. I hadn't thought about this. This is a test. Do we do a SEAL Team 6 like we did for, remember, Soldier Jessica? Do we go and extract Brittany because she is an American? Or, as Erica is worrying about, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is this a difference because of what she looks like, who she is as a sexual orientation? That's a really interesting way to see where we've come and progressed, and I can see why that's nerve-wracking.
It's super, like, I think one thing is, this feels very personal to me as the sister of a Black female, non-binary, non-conforming, or as a queer woman of color.
Represents, yeah.
And I just know, like, I've had situations, I know how my sister's treated, and you
picture her there.
Super, like, first of all, she looks like she and Brittany could be sisters.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I look at Brittany, I just see my sister. And I am just so heartbroken about this because 3 weeks for someone to be detained in a country that has gone to war, has bombed Ukraine. Like, we are having this story about the war, which is a very important story. But the idea that someone wasn't even identified, they didn't even identify her by name when we heard this story this weekend. It scares the hell out of me. And we need to make sure that we're paying attention to this story.
We keep this story going. Thanks, Bubba. Welcome back. All throughout this war, which is weird for me to even say that sentence, we've been sharing some moving pictures and really moving videos that are going viral out of Ukraine. And we've got a few more today, but some of these are a bit happier a bit. Check out this picture. It's of strollers that are waiting at a Polish train station. They've been left there for any mothers who are fleeing with their small children. I think that picture says a lot. Then look at this beautiful video of 2 Ukrainian soldiers getting married on the front lines in Kyiv. The mayor paid a visit to the couple who are wearing fatigues for their big day. Wow. The next video is of a young girl singing Let It Go from Frozen in Ukrainian, while she and others are hunkered in a bomb shelter. Take a look at this.
Отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь.
Браво, браво, умница.
That was cute. I got to tell you, hearing that song a million times in my house, I like a different version. So that put a smile on my face. But it's weird that we're getting these videos out of, it's war. They're going through war. She's in a bunker, that little girl. Again, it puts such a perspective on life that girl's singing in a bunker.
Right.
Right? And we're showing that video of happiness. And just the things we complain about here, maybe we could take a page out of here and try to find some happiness, some kindness. From the baby strollers to the girl singing to the video. Just so many videos have been coming out that are positive, and it kind of baffles my mind that they're in a war right now.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know what America would look like if we had a bunker down. That's
a great point. It reminds me a lot, too, of Britain in the World War II. They would go into air raids in the shelters. The pictures look almost identical. And there's a violinist I saw playing in Kyiv under the bunkers. The arts trying to keep humanity in that bunker. I mean, they're there with their pets, but to find time to recognize beauty in just a song.
Well, it's the importance
so
of hope.
Yes.
The audacity of hope.
Yes,
you know,
President Obama, yes.
It's just, I can't imagine. My heart goes out to everyone who's affected in this way. Like, no one deserves this. But when you see like the resilience of people, when you see like the true humanity in inhumane situations, it's just a reminder that life is not guaranteed. Things are very fleeting. But if you can just have some semblance of hope, perhaps that will be enough to get you through. So
yeah, it reminds me of in the Holocaust, Jews would still continue to pray and say the Shema and sing it, and it was important that it was sung out loud, because even that they were skeletal and dying, that stayed true, that hope stayed true, that light stayed on. So really beautiful things to see and heartbreaking at the exact same time. Coming up on DBL is former child star Ricky Schroder out of line. We're talking about what happened between him and a security guard at a museum. Coming up next.
This was...
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connected to the dots.
Welcome back. Following news from the CDC that 90% of Americans live in areas where face masks are no longer needed, which is amazing, by the way, many states and cities have started easing COVID mask guidelines in schools. But it seems like not everyone's gotten the message that pandemic-era restrictions are winding down. So everybody take a look at this convoy. It's over 1,000 truckers. They circled my hometown, Washington, D.C.'s 64-mile-long beltway twice on Sunday, clogging it completely to protest mask and vaccine mandates. Now, they're part of the, quote, the People's Convoy, and they plan to clog the Beltway each day this week until their demands are met. But get this, former child actor Ricky Schroder joined the convoy and had another public meltdown about mask requirements. So take a look at this shocking encounter he had with a security guard at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Museum in D.C. Take a look.
I can't come into this museum
without a mask.
Without a mask. God's laws are higher than the federal government's, but you're going to enforce man's laws.
Yes, we are.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, the man who defeated the Nazis, and you've become one.
Okay. DBL Nation, do you support the People's Convoy? Man, we just saw people in a bunker, and this guy's complaining about masks. Also, the security guard is doing his job because he's a law enforcer. Enforcing the law, not God's law. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I find, well, at least they, weren't picky about who they offended. I mean, he called him a Nazi, but the sign before that was equating masks to slavery.
They're all confused.
So, confused. That's generous.
Listen, Ricky Schroeder's lost his mind. I think he has some mental issues that maybe he needs to talk to somebody about. I don't even want to go there. I want to go, these trucker unions, this has been going on for months and months and months. I think they're a little late to the game, right? I get their point. That's fine.
It's
but
the protest.
What's going on in us, our grocery prices are going up, our gas prices are going up. We don't need to... A no-nonsense problem. This mask mandate's going away. We don't need people yelling at security guards that are trying to do their job. I always went back to that when I went to Disney on Ice, that man yelling at that 16-year-old woman that worked there, and she's like, "Sir, I'm sorry, I just work here." 16. I almost stepped in because I didn't like the way. Don't make conflict where you don't need conflict. Look at the war. You want conflict? That's conflict. You don't need to yell at somebody about trying to do their job. They're just trying to support their family. Don't make them look like a fool on camera. Don't clog up the city with the trucks. The mask mandates are going away. I think it's a problem that we just need to let go. We need to stop, okay? Take a page out of Ukraine, Russia's book. Look what's going on there and how bad are our problems here.
I totally agree, please.
I think you brought up an excellent point about just the privilege of it all. Who can afford to clog up beltways right now with gas prices as high as they are?
That's what I'm saying.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. That's really, really interesting. And also the idea of causing chaos when chaos is already happening in the war in D.C. is just, it just seems so unhelpful and unuseful. I get a protest. I just don't see how this one is timely.
But as a world, we're finally, the pandemic's coming down a little bit. That should be a good thing.
Right.
Not to stir the pot and mix things back up again. You know, it's going away. I understand the frustration. I'm frustrated, especially with the kids. Everybody's frustrated. But making things worse isn't going to help anything. They're coming down. Let's be thankful that it's going away a little bit. That's some good news.
I completely agree with you. All right, up next. Oh, let's take a look at the poll. 86% of you do not support the People's Convoy. Strong percentage of you. Write us in if you do or don't, please, on YouTube and the DBL app. Why are these models strutting in the snow? I got all the answers. Find out next. It's crazy.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Okay, I got really deep into this story for no reason. Welcome back. The models walking the runways at Fashion Week in Paris have had their work cut out for them recently. First up, take a look at this video from Paris Fashion Week. Sorry. I
thought that was Denver.
That's me walking into work. For Balenciaga, they got a taste of winter. The runway was essentially turned into an oversized snow globe where models had to walk through fake snow that was just blown around by wind turbines that were cranked up to the max. It was supposedly representing some apocalyptic features that we'll get to later. During London Fashion Week, these models had to wear wooden shoes.
That's great.
Oh my God, a 26-year-old Dutch designer created them.
Oh my God.
Saying the shoes aren't there for being shoes, but more like a tool that changes your posture.
Dude, this is like when you first moved to LA and like, hey, you booked a job. And it's gonna pay $50. That's what's happening there. Wow.
The Balenciaga thing was representing actually part of Ukraine, and the designer there escaped Georgia and was talking about nuclear apocalypse, and the invite was a broken iPhone with engraved details on the back of each one as if it was an artifact from like an apocalypse. So that I get. It had a full feeling to it. The wooden shoes I don't get.
Okay.
Where you at? Are you kind of tongue-tied for once in your life? About what you just saw?
Actually, yes.
You like trying new styles. Would you ever try like a shoe?
Wooden shoes?
Yeah.
I am like a 10 and a half, completely flat-footed. I do not need wooden shoes, okay? I have skis as it is.
Can you imagine if I walked in those?
Oh. You in heels is just like a flashing caution sign.
Everybody look out. Well,
yeah.
To each their own. I hope you guys can enjoy.
To each their own?
Yeah, some people enjoy, like Gaga. She wears really interesting shoes.
You talking about those wooden...
Someone's going to translate that into a working method of...
Dude, that guy looks like an umpire for cricket team. No one's transforming that into anything but the trash.
Oh, you should go to
Those are definitely sitting shoes.
Those are sitting shoes.
Yes.
Yeah, they looked a little ridiculous.
All
but
right.
You know who doesn't look ridiculous? Our viewers. We love you guys. We love
you.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. We're so grateful you're here. Thanks, guys.
If you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that. We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations. But right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific...
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Ukraine remains under attack, with citizens running to safety as a little girl sings her heart out in a bunker. Hundreds of trucks line up to protest COVID mandates. Are they a little late to the game? Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again over mask rules.
We need to fight for freedom again.
A woman's inspiring story of growing up with two gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference. And the most bizarre styles at Paris Fashion Week. Why are these models strutting in the snow?
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here, drum roll. Welcome to DBL. Many of our viewers are already writing in regarding Ukraine, so let's talk about it. Did you guys actually see this over the weekend? We want you to see this. For many ordinary Ukrainians who are trying to escape the war, they're finding it very hard to get to safety. More than 1.5 million refugees have made it out, but some who are on their way are coming under fire by Russian troops, including women and children. There is this horrible video that went viral of a rocket attack on civilians who were on an evacuation route to safety. Wow, some were killed. But some people who are evacuating are getting a helping hand. Check out these pictures of elderly and disabled people getting helped by Ukrainian soldiers as they try to escape their homes. Well, a lot of our viewers are asking, Tori, should Americans take in Ukrainian refugees, considering that 1.7 million, right? And they're estimating 7.1 million will become refugees. This is a humanitarian crisis. What do you think? This is where America shows what America can do. And if we take in the weak and the huddled masses, like it says on the Statue of Liberty, this is when we decide if we are really the red, white, and blue and the country of freedom, because 7 million people is too much for the European nations to take in, just physically. We will see overflow. And if we don't open our arms and consider ourselves a Christian nation, a Judeo-Christian nation, then what are we doing? Then what are we doing?
We've never asked this question with any other country in which there have been refugees. I mean, even if you want to just look at Central America, Mexico, drug war going on that we have some hand in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And, you know, it's like when those people are fleeing on foot, walking thousands of miles.
Carrying their children.
Right. I saw real-time updates of, like, how they were moving, you know, like it was a Santa tracker or something. So it's very interesting that, like, this is, and this does not mean that I don't want to take in refugees. I'm just saying I hope that we see that maybe because there are, let's be honest, people are seeing refugees that for the first time probably look like them.
Yeah,
they understand
white,
that these are just human beings that have been traumatized, they're terrified, and they want to feel safety, just like you do. So just because somebody doesn't look like you, doesn't speak like you, just remember how you feel right now, because in this moment, I'm down to take in refugees. So let's figure out a way to do it.
Trevor Noah, to your point, had a very viral meme over the weekend that gave a lot of people thought, right, to pause for thought. And again, this is duality of thought. This is in no way taking away any attention from the Ukrainians who are suffering right now. But he said the word refugee in so many words is not synonymous with brown people. And for the first time, people are starting to realize that. So just remember that there's conflict everywhere, to the southern that you point out, to Yemen, and we can only hope that people from all over the world get the refuge that they seek.
Absolutely.
It's heartbreaking, but in the midst of this war, an American has become trapped in Russia. Two-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA star Brittany Griner has been detained in Russia. She was arrested on drug charges after authorities found a liquid vape pen that they said contained cannabis oil. In the offseason, Brittany does play for a Russian team. Now her friends and family are demanding her release, and a lot of people fear she could become a pawn between Russia and the U.S. A lot of people also, Erica, fear that that was specifically why she was detained.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want everyone to be very careful when they're talking about this conversation, because there is a lot. It's interesting to me that we've had all of these conversations about Russia, the distrust, the calculation, and the moment that we talk about Brittany Griner, it's what she did, how she didn't, and maybe she shouldn't have been doing X, Y, and Z. No, she is a political pawn. I can understand. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks that she has been detained in Russia. Now, there is a school of thought, because obviously a lot of people are starting to have this conversation, that they were trying to quietly and safely get her returned back to the U.S., and that was a part of the reason why it was so quiet. But this is 3 weeks on a international news cycle that she is getting lost in. I'm looking at the change.org petition, which has less than 2,000 people who have even lended just their name to get more attention on the fact that we have an American who has been detained in Russia for the past 3 weeks. I'm gonna be very clear about this, because I look at Brittany and I see my sister, okay? She is a queer, black, non-binary. The way she's identified also means that we are not making her a priority in mainstream media, because she doesn't fit a damsel in distress narrative. She belongs to us. She is one of us, and she is in a country that has literally started a war during wartime, and we don't even know. The last time she's been heard from on social media was February 5th. It's still ambiguous as to when she was taken and what's happened to her. We don't know anything. We need to be alarmed by this situation, and we need to raise hell to let people know that Brittany Griner matters to us. I can't, this literally has been keeping me up at night, that this is going on and it is not a priority.
Will you say the petition again?
At change.org, you can go and sign the petition. It was started by Tamron Spruill, who is a journalist who covers women's basketball. Obviously, this is just,
And let's also be clear for this. They said they found maybe hashish oil or something like that. I'm not willing to agree to understand that Putin didn't do anything very malicious in terms of either planting that. I mean, we're talking Russia here.
Well, he already has, let's just call it what it is. He already has a history of illegally detaining individuals to use as pawns for his own political agenda.
Like the timing on this.
So let's remember the timing. Let's also remember that this is an individual, regardless, who just being queer, just the way she looks, gets treated, criminalized, and discriminated against in many ways in that country. So to Erica's point, everybody, this is a call to action. Go look for that change.org petition. We will put it up on our social media channels, but just go to change.org and look up Brittany Griner.
It'd be nice if the NBA could give that a retweet as well. I think they got a couple followers.
I agree. All right, so Ukraine is also releasing more videos of captured Russian soldiers, and it's really interesting to hear from them about what they were told when they were, or why they were what they were doing in that country and how they feel about it now. Take a look.
Нам говорили, что якобы на территории Украины, не судите строго, что на территории Украины господствует фашистский режим, что националисты, нацисты захватили власть в свои руки, что обычным людям нужно помочь избавиться от этого.
Yoke means, in case people are confused, that's Putin. And what they're saying is that the Russia equals propaganda. You just don't know what you're getting. They're giving you and curating you things. That's why I think maybe he even planted that, possibly. So you never can trust Russia. So what he's saying is we've got to stop listening to them because we thought this was a country overrun by Nazis. Zelensky, the president, is a Jew whose grandfather fought against Nazis and lost people in the Holocaust. It's all lies. So what's interesting is the normal people getting social media, you're getting a first-hand crowdsource of someone saying, we're being lied to. And let me remind you, this happens in all countries, including ourselves. January 6th, this really reminds me of. We got to get down to the person who incited this, who thought this. I'm not trying to go there, but you've got to think of the similarities here.
I think they're very similar, and that's what I was thinking about as he was talking. It just shows you that, absolutely. It just shows you that information and facts. People always go, Erica, we need some facts. This is some facts in here, Sam. Well, facts are facts to certain people. people. To certain people, they think that, as we sit here today, there is a large group of Americans that think that President Obama was not born here. That is a fact to them. So when we start talking about facts, we have to understand that we have to be working from the same playbook, and it's impossible when you do business and highlight people like Putin, like we've done for a long time, as a person that wants to do business at the table. And when you normalize somebody like this, when they start acting like this, now everybody's like, oh, what's up? For the last couple of years, it has been the, hey, he's a smart guy, and I like this guy.
Yeah.
We don't hear that so much anymore. I wonder why that changed. But for the last couple of years, it has been all about, hey, he's a guy that's just trying to organize his country, and I just don't hear that same rhetoric. So I wonder where all of his cheerleaders are now, because I don't hear them.
Right. Well, good conversations. Coming up on DBL, uplifting moments from Ukraine, from love prevailing to music making people smile. We're going to share it all next. Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again, recording his own mask rant. We'll show you what went down inside a museum. And Kanye West is defending his new music video that targets Pete Davidson, why he says there's no issue with it.
Closed captioning provided by
So we're still continuing the conversation about Brittany Griner, and I think that people need to understand this story was not a national story until this weekend. It's been 3 weeks.
That's disgusting.
And
Yeah, I didn't know that
knew.
either. 3 weeks.
In
a Russian
first, right, in the first, and that's why I'm saying that there is a credible school of thought, because I'm like 2 degrees of separation from this. That they were attempting to get this done, to have her brought back without it becoming a big story, that they were trying to get her back quietly. But at 3 weeks and no one knows,
unacceptable. Yeah.
like there's just no way. And the fact that there is a war going on, and obviously all of these other stories, which are very important stories, are taking priority over this story for someone who is a triply marginalized.
Right.
So if we don't show, this is a litmus test on who is important in America and why. If we do not show that this is a person who is of importance to be heard, their story to be heard, then how long will she be there?
Right.
And what is happening to her?
Have we heard any word of her state?
No, like
nothing.
There's
been zero communication.
CNN just did a story where her wife has spoken out, and they're amplifying her voice. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee was the first.
But we don't know anything. Nothing.
And she's also been sentenced to, could be up to 5 to 10 years in a Russian prison.
You know what's horrific? It's like, to Erica's point, if that were, because she's also a gold medalist. If you don't know who she is, she's one of the best athletes in the world. Supplement that with Shaun White. What would happen right now if Shaun White was locked up? It would be top of the news every single day, and we would do everything in our capabilities to get Shaun White out. Welcome back. All throughout this war, we've been sharing some moving pictures and videos that are going viral out of Ukraine. We've got a few more today. Check out this picture of strollers that are waiting at a Polish train station. They've been left there for mothers who are fleeing with their small children. Then look at this beautiful video of 2 Ukrainian soldiers getting married on the front lines in Kyiv. The mayor paid a visit to the couple who are wearing fatigues for their big day. This next video is of a young girl singing Let It Go in Ukrainian while she and others hunker down in a bomb shelter. Take a listen.
Отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь.
Bravo, bravo, умница. Wow. Idina Menzel responded tweeting, "We see you. We really, really see you." Idina Menzel is the one that sang Let It Go and, provided the voice of Elsa for Frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, that just puts it in reality,
I
right?
see you choke it up, Sam, and it's like, I don't want to speak for you, but when you look at a child singing like that and you know her parents are close by, hopefully, and just as their parent, you know that you're helpless. Like, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, and all you can do is just enjoy the moment with your kid. But it's your absolute worst fear is to just be, you know, minute to minute, second to second with these precious children. And you know, I worry about my kids going to college all the time, and that seems frivolous, just thinking about like how much their lives are in danger over there. I hope we see an end to this, but
One ego guy.
One
One narcissistic egomaniac has done this to both Ukraine and Russia. There's Russian soldiers that don't know what they're doing. They're not equipped. This is all wrong on both
Don't you think that's
ends.
too easy, though? One guy?
No,
I think this is an ideology.
don't.
One guy can't do anything unless other people go along with it.
One guy who has the most nuclear power of anyone in the world can and does and shows what happens when he gets ticked off. And what's scary is the unpredictability. Americans getting trapped here. What's amazing of the Ukraine resiliency is that in all of that, they have art. They sing. There's a violinist I saw.
We're seeing snippets, though. Let's keep it 100.
Oh, it's awful.
There is so much suffering going on in those bunkers, and I'm not saying you're in.
No.
I just want to keep it 100 that we share with our viewers, some of these moments, because it's those moments that, to your point, Tori, really speak to the courage, to the resiliency, to the unity of the Ukrainian people. It's absolutely inspiring, but at the same time, after you see that highlight reel, you know that they are mourning people. They're listening to bombs. It is a nightmare. And to see that girl, that reminds me so much of Sophie, having a moment. It could be any one of us, but it's not. So we sit here behind our desk and we report on it, and it's that weird juxtaposition of so much suffering elsewhere and us living our lives that I have trouble grappling. I don't understand how you feel helpless. You absolutely feel helpless. And I just want to over with for those poor people. It's just absolutely disgusting. Coming up on DBL is former child star Ricky Schroeder out of line. We're talking about what happened between him and the security team at a museum. Next.
This was
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connected to them.
Welcome back. Following news from the CDC that 90% of Americans live in areas where face masks are no longer needed. Many states and cities have started easing COVID mask guidelines in schools. But it seems like not everyone has gotten the message that pandemic-era restrictions are winding down. Take a look at this convoy. Over 1,000 semi-trucks, recreational vehicles, and cars circled Washington, D.C.'s 64-mile-long beltway, twice on Sunday, clogging the highway to protest mask and vaccine mandates. They're part of the People's Convoy, and they plan to clog the Beltway each day this week until their demands are met. But get this, former child actor Ricky Schroeder joined the convoy and had another public meltdown about mask requirements. Take a look at this encounter he had with a security guard at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Museum.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. You can't come in. I can't come into this museum without a mask. Without a mask. God's laws are higher than the federal government's, but you're going to enforce man's laws. Yes, we are. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the man who defeated the Nazis, and you've become one.
Wow. So DBL Nation, do you support the People's Convoy? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in.
Yeah. What happens in like a month or a couple months or so when it's 100% no mask mandate? What's the new thing? I mean, I'm like super impressed that anybody can afford to block 64 miles the way that gas prices are right now. That's
Talk about
wow.
privilege, right? Like, how silly do you look after what we just showed, right? That we're winding down the mask mandates. We're winning. We should all be on the same team, and yet you're whining and complaining over a security guard who, by the way, is doing his dang job.
But I think he is doing his job, Tori, and I think that's a way deeper conversation. I think we're losing a lot of the people that work in the service industry in any kind of way because of this. I told you guys I was in LA a couple weeks ago, and I had to go to a CVS twice in one day, and both times there was somebody berating the manager. It's a different manager, different person. I was, when I got stuck in your hometown of Chicago a couple weeks ago, my flight officially got canceled, and I was going to stay overnight. I went to go get a cup of coffee from Starbucks, and it was a 20-year-old young black woman there. I 44, so she's a girl to me, but she's a woman. And you know, I go, how's your day going? She goes, it's good. You know, there's been no flight cancellation, so people aren't being mean to me today. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she said, when a flight's canceled, just people walk over and they just say mean stuff.
Take it out on you.
So that's what we do to our waiters, waitresses, to our security guards, and it's cool. But now we don't have anybody working those shifts. Taco Bell, I know for a fact the one on Colorado, was closed for the dinner shift. Nobody at Taco Bell. Think of the potheads. Because there's nobody to work there because your uncles are going there, being disrespectful to people. And guess what, guys? There's nobody at your favorite bar now. There's nobody working in Vegas. When I stay in hotels, there's maybe one person working, whereas it used to be 5 or 6. So this is great. This Ricky Schroeder and everybody else is the reason we're living like this. Sorry, I took up the whole segment.
It has to do with social media again, because you have a group of people validating his behavior, applauding his behavior, calling him, you know, a real patriot. First of all, thank you for calling it privilege. This is such a disgusting display of privilege, considering all the people who are really suffering over in Ukraine. It's also a display of absolute privilege when you look at someone like Eric and I, who lost people to COVID.
Right.
So not only is it that, but then you have to couple it with the fact that they do finally feel seen and heard within their group on social media, which gives them the power to continue this disgusting behavior. So I don't know where we go with it, because freedom of speech.
Right. Like, I'm all
what do you do?
I'm all for a protest. Like, I get that. I just think the timing of this is odd, since we're winding it all down.
Well, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort.
Okay.
Like 90% no mandates. There's still 10.
Half of the truck convoy turned around, like in Nevada.
I don't understand.
Because the gas is high, like Erica said, bro.
Yeah, it looks like 74% of you do not support that convoy. All right, coming up on DBL, an author and advocate for the LGBTQ community joins us live to share how growing up with 2 gay dads has helped her inspire the next generation.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we got, Tori?
Okay, so Don, we appreciate you just wrote in. I just signed the petition, Erica, about Brittany. We really appreciate it. Again, change.org. Look for Brittany Griner. Appreciate that. Kat G says, I'm seeing those empty strollers and thinking about those innocent kids in danger. It's the hardest part for me. Twin78 says it truly brings a silver lining to a dark cloud. I think that little girl's voice. And Adam says, Alan, Sam, you're both so well-spoken. I love your hearts because you're amazing people, and yet you keep it professional. There was nothing about Erica or myself.
Hey.
Right, we're good.
Yeah, first of all, they can shine.
You can shine.
It does not dull our flame.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm kidding. If you're leaving us, thank you for the compliment. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailybuslive.com, or our app. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. We've got the most bizarre styles from Fashion Week, like these models walking a runway in the snow. Plus, this Kanye West new music video targeting Pete Davidson. Really just art. Why he says that's all it is. We're going to discuss all that and more coming up next.
If you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that. We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has two videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those two videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations. But right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all, just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. All right, so Kanye West. He's defending his latest video, calling it art. A warning, some may find this video disturbing. Now, last week, he released this Easy music video, which shows a Pete Davidson look-alike being kidnapped, decapitated, and buried. Yesterday, Kanye posted on his Instagram saying, quote, art is therapy. He goes on to say, art simplifies, or inspires and simplifies the world. Art is not a proxy for any ill or harm. Any suggestion otherwise about my art is false. Erica, we've been talking about this and the almost like the build up to where we are now with Kanye and his music and the divorce. What do you think about his newest clarification?
I don't think it was a clarification because the truth is art is subjective and it's subjective by the interpretation of the person consuming it. So I don't think you can really say that's not what it is if you're calling it art, because doesn't it remain open? You're an art history major.
I have a really hard time
Tori's
right
been
this.
waiting for this
No,
moment.
because I have a really hard time with this, because I'm about to disagree with Erica on something that I hold very dear to my heart, that art should have a wide range should be not prohibited in a wide range of things, even if it's things I don't like, right? But here's the problem. Here's where it crosses the line. Art can be subjective and abstract and all of that, and it can be a realism, but when you make it the face of Pete Davidson, and then you call it Pete Davidson, he calls him Pete Davidson in the song,
mm-hmm.
and you already have a true history of that person that stems and simmering with violence, and you are that powerful with that many followers, I think that is calling fire in a crowded theater dangerous. And that is not protected by the Supreme Court. That is not protected speech because of the level of credible threat it could cause to someone. It's literally called clear and present danger. Had it not been Pete Davidson's face, just a random dude, cool. But you can't name him Pete Davidson in the thing and then expect people to say it's subjective because you're naming him.
Do you feel the same way about Kathy Griffin when she had the decapitated head of Trump? Okay, then
I did.
So say that loud and clear.
I did.
So it's consistent because I can only imagine people are going to
jump on
call you a hypocrite.
Right, and I'm a stand-up and I believe in freedom of speech, but when that person was the president and she held a very non-subjective head of Donald Trump decapitated, to me, you don't threaten the president, you get in trouble, she crossed a line. And it is specific and it's limited and the judges have made it really hard to deal with, but clear and present danger to me is Kanye about to explode.
So what if a rapper name drops another rapper that they have beef with? Like if they literally say, hey, I'm coming for you, we both know what I'm going to do. We know I'm packing whatever. I'm writing the worst rap as I talk.
It sounds really good.
That's the thing is like, where's the line? I always try and defend speech, you know. What were you saying?
I was going to say, Tori thought, when you said packing, I think Tori thought you meant like packing a suitcase.
No, I know gun. It's a gun.
All right.
But I do know that. No, I know that. But he's right. That's a great point. But I would have to say, if I were looking at that, I would say, is the beef to the point where he's bought the house across the street? How many steps have we gotten into violation? And there's a lot more than just a beefing with a rapper or beefing with a rapper.
All right, final thought, Erica.
Yeah, this is interesting because on top of the Kathy Griffin point, What about what we recently just had this conversation when AOC was targeted and used in a cartoon, whatever you want to call it.
Violent.
We were very outraged by that. For very good reason.
Right.
So I think we can't really pick and choose in terms of what is considered art and protected and what's considered an actual threat.
Right.
Because I know I was very uncomfortable with the AOC targeted whatever that was, and I'm uncomfortable with this.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Well said. All right, so speaking of Kim, her latest look at Paris Fashion Week is going viral. The reality star wore a black bodysuit that was covered in custom yellow caution tape. Her team taped pieces and layered them on top of her until she was covered from head to toe. She paired the look with matching heels and a handbag that were also taped. Kim appears to be stepping into a new fashion era since stepping away from Kanye's fashion advice. And during Milan Fashion Week, she turned heads when she opted for an array of different sized jumpsuits. Well, first of all, when she was wearing the caution tape, isn't she one of the faces of Balenciaga?
Yeah, so she's very close with them as well.
Well, if you look at, like, in Times Square, it was just pictured, there was her modeling for Balenciaga, almost like the face of them. So was this her choice, or was this Balenciaga's people that were decorating her with the fashion tape, considering she's one of their faces?
Right. I don't know the answer, but to me, and maybe because I'm an art history major, I took it and meant that she's wrapped up in, like, an oncoming crime. And I know that sounds a little deep because it's like, but it's interesting she picked yellow police crime tape to be wrapped up in after
Does
all
police
this
crime tape have Balenciaga written on it?
Yeah, really high fashion police
That's how you know
does.
you made it. It's
Corey, that's a terrifying interpretation.
It's just, and it probably isn't, but she's so careful about editing and what she does. Some things are really, like, deliberate. It just seemed too on the nose for me, but I could be totally wrong.
Wow. Well, shout out to my friend Terry in high school who used to wear caution tape every day. He was a punk rocker.
Cool.
Yeah, straight edge anarchist, loved him, was always wrapped himself up in caution tape. People didn't really get it then, but I hope he saw that Kim K look and was like, see, I started it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Terry.
He finishes his TV dinner and turns DBL off. What do you mean? You act like this is his coming of age moment. Like, he didn't do that.
This is gratifying to Terry.
How is that for Terry?
Shout out to Terry.
He was just a dude wearing police tape. He doesn't get props and be in the same sentence with Kim now.
Yeah, he did. He started it 20 years ago. Shout out to Terry.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Terry. Okay, so the models walking the runways after work. Cut out for them first up. Take a look at this video from Paris Fashion Week. Oh my gosh, I shared this, you guys, on my Instagram. I could not believe it. I hope we have the part with the tidy whities person. So here it is. This is the Balenciaga. They got a taste of winter. There's one dude that's in tidy whities. I don't know where he is. But the runway was essentially turned into an oversized snow globe where models had to walk through fake snow that was blown around by wind turbines that were cranked up to the max, okay? And then during London Fashion Week, these models had to wear wooden shoes. A 26-year-old Dutch designer created them, saying the shoes aren't there for being shoes, but more like a tool that changes your posture.
This is what I look like walking on set today because I wore heels all Saturday. I danced my little feet off on Saturday night, and I put on heels today to walk on set. I was like, woo, shuffle on in, like they on fire.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
What is up with these shows? I get that they're supposed to be avant-garde. We're talking about them. I secretly hated the snow globe.
I did too.
I loved it.
I
right?
did too. A little bit, yeah.
It's supposed to represent a nuclear apocalypse, okay? Now, they were carrying trash bags because that's what you would have. You had plastic things that would survive. And what's interesting is the invitations were given to you in an iPhone that was cracked, an old iPhone, and on the back it was engraved with your personal information and where the show is. So it was as if this was an artifact after an explosion. She also mentioned she was rescued from Georgia or fled from Georgia as a youth, and Ukraine. It's all kind of playing in there. Yeah, so she was taking a stand against a nuclear apocalypse. So it's so interesting, the depth to that.
Yeah, I would say getting a shattered iPhone is interesting. thing. I don't know if I like that. I don't like that.
It's the invite. Engraved?
I think that
I like it.
I did like the fashion. I'm not gonna tell. I did like the look with the first one. The second one, I wouldn't even look at the cardboard. I wasn't even looking at yes, of course.
Amazing.
That is ridiculous.
Amazing.
Sam, what bothers me is no one in the audience is laughing.
Right.
There's not one person like me and my homie look at your boy. There should be at least one fun dude there.
You look like Thomas.
I don't like that everybody's so serious with this nonsense.
I love that they're taking it seriously, that they're writing notes and they're like, oh yes, that's it. That's it. But again, we all know that these fashion show avant-garde looks don't translate to the looks on the street.
Right.
They take pieces of it.
Right.
So it's more of the
Exaggerated.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see pointed shoulders.
And the Dutch make famously wooden clogs, so I think that's a play on their famous footwear.
I think you're really reaching.
We got it. We gotta get to.
Really reaching.
We gotta get to Rihanna as Riri's pregnancy style because it's making headlines yet again, and I just love it. So while attending Paris Fashion Week, she flaunted her baby bump in this aqua-colored jumpsuit. It's her latest in a series of bump-bearing looks, and since announcing her pregnancy in January, this is exactly how I wished I looked when I was pregnant. She is so fierce. And, she's been getting some pushback. Jada Pinkett Smith posted a photo of her wearing a sheer little number when she was pregnant. She's like, why are people attacking Rihanna now when a lot of people have been doing this?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why has this not been a thing?
Pregnancy and is not seen as also sexy to people.
Like a fly pregnancy outfit. Why is that not a thing?
They don't mix in people's minds.
It is a thing.
I don't see it. When I'm at Trader Joe's or I'm out, somebody's like, I want to see a 8-month-old pregnant person flawless. I would love that.
You've never seen an 8-month pregnant?
That.
Well, you need to get out more.
Well, where are you hanging out?
I'm just saying. I have seen some very fabulous pregnancy styles, and some of them lean a little bit more like a sexy Rihanna. Some of them are super conservative, covered up. All of it is beautiful.
Yes, Erica.
Do you, boo-boo.
Exactly. Coming up on DBL, a woman's inspiring story of growing up with 2 gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference.
Closed captioning provided by...
Hi, I'm...
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Oh, someone said it looks like he had to go to the bathroom.
Erica, you have
Was
a third
the
question.
shifting clog
Huge
man
obstacles in your 28 years
with
of
the
life.
toast?
Which ones were the hardest on you?
What's
Turn around? I'm gonna cut in front of you. I'm sorry.
This is what happens.
Hi,
This
Tori.
poor producer. Yes, I'm so sorry.
So poor and sorry.
Yes.
You had a
Yeah.
revelation that you wrote
Sorry.
down.
Okay,
I
let's
didn't
see. I'm
realize you were
taking
wrong.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica, I need to talk to you about pregnancy fashion because I'm assuming it's an industry.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, it's an industry.
Thank you.
Is there
Thank you.
a high-end kind of
Well, listen,
avant-garde fashion?
Al, someone's already saying she's showing too much baby belly. People are already saying that.
Criticism. It's so weird. And people really get handsy with you when you're pregnant. There was one outfit that I remember wearing. It was really tight. It showed off my bump. I was very proud of it. And I can't tell you how many people, one, looked at me weird. God forbid I had a mocktail in my hand, and so many people thought I was drinking while pregnant. People think it's their business when you're pregnant. People will come up, they'll rub your tummy without even asking. There's no boundaries when people are pregnant. It's the weirdest thing. People can flex their opinions on you. They can touch you.
Except you're not the person. You're a vehicle. It's like you're not.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's back off. Your opinions, your hand, all of it.
There's an article in the New York Times today, guys, about that women who work from home who get pregnant, it says no more belly pats. They're like, thank God I can make my Zoom over my belly so no one can even see it. They don't say how much bigger I've gotten. Yeah. They don't pat my belly. It's much more private. So that's a real thing that Zoom has done.
Cool.
Yeah, do you think we should just stop commenting on people's bodies?
Yes.
Period? But then at the same time, is it weird if I go, Erica, you look fantastic?
No, but it's
Someone's
not.
working hard. Yeah, you have to know.
Society loves putting people in boxes, and these boxes are often not how we feel about ourselves. Our next guest describes her life as living 2 doors down from normal. Think about that. It's a powerful statement. Please welcome author and advocate Chelsea Austin.
Yes.
Yay! Chelsea, welcome to the show. So you give the phrase, keeping it in the family, a whole new meaning. Explain.
You know, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, I hear that. I was raised by 2 incredible, and I know I'm biased, gay men who really did everything in their power to bring me into the world. And they used my dad, Kevin's sperm, and my daddy, Dennis's sister's egg, and my dad's cousin carried me. So they did everything they could to bring me into this world, and everybody had to lawyer up and make sure that both my dad and my daddy were on my birth certificate so that, God forbid something happened, they would both have legal rights to me. And that was the first time that happened in the state of California.
Wow.
That's huge. Now, I got to ask you, because obviously there are going to be some people that have some issues with this next statement, but you say that you don't need a mom to succeed in life. So tell everybody, tell our audience, what are some ways that your dad stepped up for you?
You know, my parents really armed themselves with information. They made sure that they did the research and they talked to, I think, as many women as they could get a hold of. I think one of the most popular questions was always, who's going to do her hair? And I said, well, first of all, my dads are gay. Second of all, my dad also has a cosmetology license, so I'm taken care of. But when it came to dating or boys or sex, they wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable coming to them, and they really did a fantastic job of that, and also built an army of female figures in my life that I felt comfortable going to at any time. So I stand by that. You do not need a mom to feel successful and loved and wonderful being who you are.
Love it. Chelsea, okay, now you've had some pretty big obstacles to overcome in your 28 years of life. Which ones do you find to be either the hardest or maybe the most pivotal to your growth?
That's an amazing question. So, you know, there are 2 things that really stand out for me. One was my daddy went to prison for 2 years during my senior year of college and the year following. And my biological mom, my aunt, passed away from lung cancer when she was really young. And I would say, while those experiences don't define me, they definitely have made me who I am today. And one thing that I really took away from my daddy being away, as he called it, his trip to mandatory adult sleepaway camp, was that he was grateful every day for his life, for the beauty that the sunrise brings. No matter having his freedom taken away, whatever it was, he was always grateful. And seeing his mindset and how he was able to stay positive every day and see the glass half full, I think is what I learned most from him in that moment. And from my auntie passing away, I mean, talk about losing your #1 fan. That was a challenge, but she taught me to laugh loudly and a lot, and laugh at yourself, and not take life too seriously, and to follow your dreams and your heart. I mean, she's a big reason why I wrote my book. She's a big reason why I left my career in real estate to follow where I knew I needed to be in life.
Someone, Julia Gray, one of our viewers, just wrote it. I love her smile. So your auntie is looking down on you. I know, isn't that lovely? This is a really interesting part in your memoir. You said just because you're a liberal doesn't mean you're actually open-minded. Can you elaborate on that? That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, you know, it's a contentious point,
Yeah,
but
right.
I definitely believe that. I grew up in a bubble. Grew up in Malibu, California. I've lived in Los Angeles most of my life. And it wasn't until I moved across the country to go to college in a small town in Pennsylvania where I really started to meet people that were different from me politically. And I felt like I really kind of shut down. I went, well, you're not open-minded if you don't see the world the way I do. But just because they don't agree with things that I believe are non-negotiables doesn't mean that I have the only right opinion. And I believe that if you really want to connect with people, and if we want to create a less divided society, we have to work on actually hearing other people out that are different from us. So I work to be more open-minded by hearing people out and being more accepting of people with very differing views from me, which is not always
but I do my best.
Good for
That
you.
is very self-aware,
Yeah.
very transparent.
See, I do the opposite. I shut
You shut 'em down?
people
Yeah.
that disagree
He's
with
not
me.
lying.
I marginalize
He hates
and I
people.
extract
That's not
people that don't
true.
think like
He
I do.
uses us.
It's
That's
worked
not true.
perfectly.
Here's, I think, a really interesting question and hopefully a takeaway for all our viewers and absolutely all the readers of your book. How can we create our own identity and redefine our existing labels like you have?
You know, I think labels are fascinating things because they're not actually for us. They're for everybody else to better understand who we are. And so often we end up with labels that we're not totally comfortable with. Like, I was known as the girl with 2 gay dads. I still am for most of my life. But it's not the only interesting thing about me. And so I love to take labels and redefine them for myself and create a meaning that I'm comfortable with. I've also been called relentless a lot in my life, which is not necessarily a positive word that you use to describe someone. But I had to take that and say, you know what? It just means that I am relentlessly dedicated to making my dreams a reality. And so if you can take words and give them the meaning that you are comfortable with and check the other words in the bin, you get to decide that and no one else.
Wow, Chelsea, you're such an old soul. Like, your aura just like jumps off the screen. You know, obviously also a testament to your 2 fantastic dads. Thank you so much, Chelsea. DBL Nation, find more on Chelsea and pre-order her upcoming inspirational memoir, Inexplicably Me, on chelseaaustin.com. We'll be right back.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Chelsea.
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. There are many kind-hearted people in the world. Watch how a woman was treated with kindness after a long day of volunteering in today's Heart Threads.
This woman was stuck in freezing temperatures, but one man's selfless act made all the difference. Sloan is a volunteer with the Memphis Community Alliance for the Homeless. She was assisting at a vaccination event when she found herself unprepared.
I did not realize the event was going to be outside, so I was a little bit underdressed for it. Luckily, I had a hat and a coat, but I realized that I had forgotten my gloves.
After the event, Sloan sat in freezing temperatures as she waited for the bus. A homeless man noticed her shivering and offered her his gloves.
I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. I literally had tears in my eyes. It meant so much to me to think that somebody who has so little in terms of possessions would be thinking about me.
The gentleman also offered Sloan food and water, but she respectfully declined. When she finally got home, she shared her experience on Facebook.
all the frustration and uncertainty and the bone-chilling temperatures I felt that day, I knew that was only temporary. But for the people who helped me, that was their daily reality.
Sloan said she is grateful for his compassion, especially since he's a total stranger.
I think there's such a stigma amongst our unsheltered neighbors in the community, and it's so easy for a lot of people to look the other way. I just wanted to share what had happened to me and let others know just how amazing other people can be.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Tori's eating applesauce like my daughter Sophie.
For the tummy.
Oh,
Why are you doing it with a fork?
I always eat it with a fork.
Okay, we're out of time. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Stay safely.
If you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that, We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations, but right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones, that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Ukraine remains under attack, with citizens running to safety as a little girl sings her heart out in a bunker. Hundreds of trucks line up to protest COVID mandates. Are they a little late to the game? Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again over mask rules.
We need to fight for freedom again.
A woman's inspiring story of growing up with 2 gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference. And the most bizarre styles at Paris Fashion Week. Why are these models strutting in the snow?
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here, drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Many of our viewers are already writing in regarding Ukraine, so let's talk about it. Did you guys actually see this over the weekend? We want you to see this. For many ordinary Ukrainians who are trying to escape the war, they're finding it very hard to get to safety. More than 1.5 million refugees have made it out, but some who are on their way are coming under fire by Russian troops, including women and children. There is this horrible video that went viral of a rocket attack on civilians who were on an evacuation route to safety. Wow, some were killed. But some people who are evacuating are getting a helping hand. Check out these pictures of elderly and disabled people getting helped by Ukrainian soldiers as they try to escape their homes. Well, a lot of our viewers are asking, Tori, should Americans take in Ukrainian refugees, considering that 1.7 million, right? And they're estimating 7.1 million will become refugees. This is a humanitarian crisis. What do you think?
This is where America shows what America can do. And if we take in the weak and the huddled masses, like it says on the Statue of Liberty, this is when we decide if we are really the red, white, and blue and the country of freedom, because 7 million people is too much for the European nations to take in, just physically. We will see overflow. And if we don't open our arms and consider ourselves a Christian nation, a Judeo-Christian nation, then what are we doing? Then what are we doing?
We've never asked this question with any other country in which there have been refugees. I mean, even if you want to just look at Central America, Mexico, drug war going on that we have some hand in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And, you know, it's like when those people are fleeing on foot, walking thousands of miles.
Carrying their children.
Right. I saw real-time updates of like how they were moving, you know, like it was a Santa tracker or something. So it's very interesting that like this is, and this does not mean that I don't want to take in refugees. I'm just saying I hope that we see that maybe because there are, let's be honest, people are seeing refugees that for the first time probably look like them.
Yeah,
they understand
white,
that these are just human beings that have been traumatized, they're terrified, and they want to feel safety, just like you do. So just because somebody doesn't look like you, doesn't speak like you, just remember how you feel right now, because in this moment, I'm down to take in refugees. So let's figure out a way to do it.
Trevor Noah, to your point, had a very viral meme over the weekend that gave a lot of people thought, right, to pause for thought. And again, this is duality of thought. This is in no way taking away any attention from the Ukrainians who are suffering right now. But he said the word refugee in so many words is not synonymous with brown people. And for the first time, people are starting to realize that. So just remember that there's conflict everywhere, to the southern that you point out, to Yemen, and we can only hope that people from all over the world get the refuge that they seek.
Absolutely.
It's heartbreaking, but in the midst of this war, an American has become trapped in Russia. Two-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA star Brittany Griner has been detained in Russia. She was arrested on drug charges after authorities found a liquid vape pen that they said contained cannabis oil. In the offseason, Brittany does play for a Russian team. Now her friends and family are demanding her release, and a lot of people fear she could become a pawn between Russia and the U.S. A lot of people also, Erica, fear that that was specifically why she was detained.
Yeah. I just want everyone to be very careful when they're talking about this conversation, because there is a lot. It's interesting to me that we've had all of these conversations about Russia, the distrust, the calculation, and the moment that we talk about Brittany Griner, it's what she did, how she didn't, and maybe she shouldn't have been doing X, Y, and Z. No, she is a political pawn. I can understand. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks that she has been detained in Russia. Now, there is a school of thought, because obviously a lot of people are starting to have this conversation, that they were trying to quietly and safely get her returned back to the U.S., and that was a part of the reason why it was so quiet. But this is 3 weeks on a international news cycle that she is getting lost in. I'm looking at the change.org petition, which has less than 2,000 people who have even lended just their name to get more attention on the fact that we have an American who has been detained in Russia for the past 3 weeks. I'm gonna be very clear about this, because I look at Brittany and I see my sister, okay? She is a queer, black, non-binary. The way she's identified also means that we are not making her a priority in mainstream media, because she doesn't fit a damsel in distress narrative. She belongs to us. She is one of us, and she is in a country that has literally started a war during wartime, and we don't even know. The last time she's been heard from on social media was February 5th. It's still ambiguous as to when she was taken and what's happened to her. We don't know anything. We need to be alarmed by this situation, and we need to raise hell to let people know that Brittany Griner matters to us. I can't, this literally has been keeping me up at night, that this is going on and it is not a priority.
Will you say the petition again?
At change.org, you can go and sign the petition. It was started by Tamron Spruill, who is a journalist who covers women's basketball. Obviously, this is just,
And let's also be clear for this. They said they found maybe hashish oil or something like that. I'm not willing to agree to understand that Putin didn't do anything very malicious in terms of either planting that. I mean, we're talking Russia here.
Well, he already has, let's just call it what it is. He already has a history of illegally detaining individuals to use as pawns for his own political agenda.
Like the timing on this.
So let's remember the timing. Let's also remember that this is an individual, regardless, who just being queer, just the way she looks, gets treated, criminalized, and discriminated against in many ways in that country. So to Erica's point, everybody, this is a call to action. Go look for that change.org petition. We will put it up on our social media channels, but just go to change.org and look up Brittany Griner.
It'd be nice if
so
the
much.
NBA could give that a retweet as well. I think they got a couple followers.
I agree. All right, so Ukraine is also releasing more videos of captured Russian soldiers, and it's really interesting to hear from them about what they were told when they were, or why they were what they were doing in that country and how they feel about it now. Take a look.
Нам говорили, что якобы на территории Украины, не судите строго, что на территории Украины господствует фашистский режим, что националисты, нацисты захватили власть в свои руки, что обычным людям нужно помочь избавиться вот от этого.
Yoke means, in case people are confused, that's Putin. And what they're saying is that the Russia equals propaganda. You just don't know what you're getting. They're giving you and curating you things. That's why I think maybe he even planted that, possibly. So you never can trust Russia. So what he's saying is we've got to stop listening to them because we thought this was a country overrun by Nazis. Zelensky, the president, is a Jew whose grandfather fought against Nazis and lost people in the Holocaust. It's all lies. So what's interesting is the normal people getting social media, you're getting a first-hand crowdsource of someone saying, we're being lied to. And let me remind you, this happens in all countries, including ourselves. January 6th, this really reminds me of. We got to get down to the person who incited this, who thought this. I'm not trying to go there, but you've got to think of the similarities.
I think they're very similar, and that's what I was thinking about as he was talking. It just shows you that, absolutely. It just shows you that information and facts. People always go, Erica, we need some facts. This is some facts in here, Sam. Well, facts are facts to certain people. To certain people, they think that as we sit here today, there is a large group of Americans that think that President Obama was not born here. That is a fact to them. So when we start talking about facts, we have to understand that we have to be working from the same playbook, and it's impossible when you do business and highlight people like Putin, like we've done for a long time, as a person that wants to do business at the table. And when you normalize somebody like this, when they start acting like this, now everybody's like, oh, what's up? For the last couple of years, it has been the, hey, he's a smart guy, and I like this
genius,
guy.
Yeah.
We don't hear that so much anymore. I wonder why that changed. But for the last couple of years, it has been all about, hey, he's a guy that's just trying to organize his country, and I just don't hear that same rhetoric. So I wonder where all of his cheerleaders are now, because I don't hear them.
Right. Well, good conversations coming up on DBL. Uplifting moments from Ukraine, from love prevailing to music making people smile. We're going to share it all next. Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again, recording his own mask rant. We'll show you what went down inside a museum. And Kanye West is defending his new music video that targets Pete Davidson, why he says there's no issue with it.
Closed captioning provided by
So we're still continuing the conversation about Brittany Griner, and I think that people need to understand this story was not a national story until this weekend. It's been 3 weeks.
Disgusting.
And
Yeah, I didn't know that
knew.
either. 3 weeks.
In a Russian first, right? In the first, and that's why I'm saying that there is a credible school of thought, because I'm like 2 degrees of separation from this. That they were attempting to get this done, to have her brought back without it becoming a big story, that they were trying to get her back quietly. But at 3 weeks and no one knows,
unacceptable.
like there's just no way. And the fact that there is a war going on, and obviously all of these other stories, which are very important stories, are taking priority over this story for someone who is a triply marginalized.
Right.
So if we don't show, this is a litmus test on who is important in America and why. If we do not show that this is a person who is of importance to be heard, their story to be heard, then how long will she be there? And what is happening to her?
Have we heard any word of her state?
No, like
nothing.
There's
been zero communication.
CNN just did a story where her wife has spoken out, and they're amplifying her voice. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee was the first.
But we don't know anything. Nothing.
And she's also been sentenced to, it could be up to 5 to 10 years in a Russian prison.
You know what's horrific? It's like, to Erica's point, if that were, because she's also a gold medalist. If you don't know who she is, she's one of the best athletes in the world. Supplement that with Shaun White. What would happen right now if Shaun White was locked up? It would be top of the news every single day, and we would do everything in our capabilities to get Shaun White out. Welcome back. All throughout this war, we've been sharing some moving pictures and videos that are going viral out of Ukraine. We've got a few more today. Check out this picture of strollers that are waiting at a Polish train station. They've been left there for mothers who are fleeing with their small children. Then look at this beautiful video of 2 Ukrainian soldiers getting married on the front lines in Kyiv. The mayor paid a visit to the couple who were wearing fatigues for their big day. This next video is of a young girl singing Let It Go in Ukrainian while she and others hunker down in a bomb shelter. Take a listen.
Отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь.
Bravo, bravo, умница. Wow. Idina Menzel responded tweeting, "We see you. We really, really see you." Idina Menzel is the one that sang Let It Go and, you know, provided the voice of Elsa for Frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, that just puts it in reality,
I
right?
see you choke it up, Sam, and it's like, I don't want to speak for you, but when you look at a child singing like that and you know her parents are close by, hopefully, and just as their parent, you know that you're helpless. Like, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, and all you can do is just enjoy the moment with your kid. But it's your absolute worst fear is to just be, you know, minute to minute, second to second with these precious children. And, you know, I worry about my kids going to college all the time, and that seems frivolous, just thinking about like how much their lives are in danger over there. I hope we see an end to this. But
One ego guy.
One
narcissistic egomaniac has done this to both Ukraine and Russia. There's Russian soldiers that don't know what they're doing. They're not equipped. This is all wrong on both
Don't you think that's
ends.
too easy, though? One guy?
No,
I think this is an ideology.
don't.
One guy can't do anything unless other people go along with it.
One guy who has the most nuclear power of anyone in the world can and does and shows what happens when he gets ticked off. And what's scary is the unpredictability. Americans getting trapped here. What's amazing of the Ukraine resiliency is that in all of that, they have art. They sing. There's a violinist I saw.
We're seeing snippets, though. Let's keep it 100.
Oh, it's awful.
There is so much suffering going on in those bunkers. And I'm not saying
No.
I just want to keep it 100 that, you know, we share with our viewers, you know, some of these moments because it's those moments that, to your point, Tori, really speak to the courage, to the resiliency, to the unity of the Ukrainian people. It's absolutely inspiring. But at the same time, after you see that highlight reel, you know that they are mourning people. They're listening to bombs. It is a nightmare. And to see that girl, that reminds me so much of Sophie, having a moment. It could be any one of us, but it's not. So we sit here behind our desk and we report on it, and it's that weird juxtaposition of so much suffering elsewhere and us living our lives that I have trouble grappling. I don't understand how you feel helpless. You absolutely feel helpless. And I just want to over with for those poor people. It's just absolutely disgusting. Coming up on DBL is former child star Ricky Schroeder out of line. We're talking about what happened between him and the security team at a museum next.
This one.
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. Following news from the CDC that 90% of Americans live in areas where face masks are no longer needed. Many states and cities have started easing COVID mask guidelines in schools. But it seems like not everyone has gotten the message that pandemic-era restrictions are winding down. Take a look at this convoy. Over 1,000 semi-trucks, recreational vehicles, and cars circled Washington, D.C.'s 64-mile-long beltway twice on Sunday, clogging the highway to protest mask and vaccine mandates. They're part of the People's Convoy, and they plan to clog the Beltway each day this week until their demands are met. But get this, former child actor Ricky Schroeder joined the convoy and had another public meltdown about mask requirements. Take a look at this encounter he had with a security guard at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Museum.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. You can't come in. I can't come into this museum without a mask. Without a mask. God's laws are higher than the federal government's, but you're going to enforce man's laws. Yes, we are. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the man who defeated the Nazis, and you've become one.
Wow. So DBL Nation, do you support the People's Convoy? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in.
Yeah. What happens in like a month or a couple months or so when it's 100% no mask mandate? What's the new thing? I mean, I'm like super impressed that anybody can afford to block 64 miles the way that gas prices are right now.
Talk about
Wow.
privilege, right? Like, how silly do you look after what we just showed, right? That we're winding down the mask mandates. We're winning. We should all be on the same team, and yet you're whining and complaining over a security guard who, by the way, is doing his dang job.
But I think he is doing his job, Tori, and I think that's a way deeper conversation. I think we're losing a lot of the people that work in the service industry in any kind of way because of this. I told you guys I was in LA a couple weeks ago, and I had to go to a CVS twice in one day, and both times there was somebody berating the manager. It's a different manager, a different person. I was, when I got stuck in your hometown in Chicago a couple weeks ago, my flight officially got canceled, and I was going to stay overnight. I went to go get a cup of coffee from Starbucks, and there's a 20-year-old young black woman there. I'm 44, so she's a girl to me, but she's a woman. And, you know, I go, how's your day going? She goes, it's good. You know, there's been no flight cancellation, so people aren't being mean to me today. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she said, when a flight's canceled, just people walk over and they just say mean stuff.
Take it out on you.
So that's what we do to our waiters, waitresses, to our security guards, and it's cool. But now we don't have anybody working those shifts. Taco Bell, I know for a fact the one on Colorado, was closed for the dinner shift. Nobody at Taco Bell. Think of the potheads. Because there's nobody to work there because your uncles are going there being disrespectful to people. And guess what, guys? There's nobody at your favorite bar now. There's nobody working in Vegas. When I stay in hotels, there's maybe one person working, whereas it used to be 5 or 6. So this is great. This Ricky Schroeder and everybody else is the reason we're living like this. Sorry, I took up the whole segment.
It has to do with social media again, because you have a group of people validating his behavior, applauding his behavior, calling him, you know, a real patriot. First of all, thank you for calling it privilege. This is such a disgusting display of privilege, considering all the people who are really suffering over in Ukraine. It's also a display of absolute privilege when you look at someone like Eric and I, who lost people to COVID.
Right.
So not only is it that, but then you have to couple it with the fact that they do finally feel seen and heard within their group on social media, which gives them the power to continue this disgusting behavior. So I don't know where we go with it, because freedom of speech.
Right. Like, I'm all
what do you do?
I'm all for a protest. Like, I get that. I just think the timing of this is odd, since we're winding it all down.
Right. Well, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort.
Okay.
Like 90% no mandates. There's still 10.
Half of the truck convoy turned around, like in Nevada.
I don't understand.
Because the gas is high, like Erica said, bro.
Yeah, it looks like 74% of you do not support that convoy. All right, coming up on DBL, an author and advocate for the LGBTQ community joins us live to share how growing up with 2 gay dads has helped her inspire the next generation.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we got, Tori?
Okay, so Don, we appreciate you just wrote in. I just signed the petition, Erica, about Brittany. We really appreciate it. Again, change.org. Look for Brittany Griner. Appreciate that. Kat G says, I'm seeing those empty strollers and thinking about those innocent kids in danger. It's the hardest part for me. Twin78 says it truly brings a silver lining to a dark cloud. I think that little girl's voice. And Adam says, Al and Sam, you're both so well-spoken. I love your hearts because you're amazing people, and yet you keep it professional. There was nothing about Erica or myself.
Hey.
Right, we're good.
Yeah, first of all, they can shine.
You can shine.
It does not dull our flame.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm kidding. If you're leaving us, thank you for the compliment. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. We've got the most bizarre styles from Fashion Week, like these models walking a runway in the snow. Plus, this Kanye West new music video targeting Pete Davidson. Really just art. Why he says that's all it is. We're going to discuss all that and more coming up next.
you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that. We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations, but right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones, that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. All right, so Kanye West. He's defending his latest video, calling it art. A warning, some may find this video disturbing. Now, last week, he released this Easy music video, which shows a Pete Davidson look-alike being kidnapped, decapitated, and buried. Yesterday, Kanye posted on his Instagram saying, quote, "Art is therapy." He goes on to say, "Art simplifies or inspires and simplifies the world. Art is not a proxy for any ill or harm. Any suggestion otherwise about my art is false." Erica, we've been talking about this and the almost like the build up to where we are now with Kanye and his music and the divorce. What do you think about his newest clarification?
I don't think it was a clarification, because the truth is art is subjective, and it's subjective by the interpretation of the person consuming it. So I don't think you can really say that's not what it is if you're calling it art, because doesn't it remain open? You're an art history major.
I have a really hard time
Tori's
right
been
this.
waiting for this
No,
moment.
because I have a really hard time with this, because I'm about to disagree with Erica on something that I hold very dear to my heart, that art should have a wide range should be not prohibited in a wide range of things, even if it's things I don't like, right? But here's the problem. Here's where it crosses the line. Art can be subjective and abstract and all of that, and it can be a realism, but when you make it the face of Pete Davidson, and then you call it Pete Davidson, he calls him Pete Davidson in the song,
mm-hmm.
and you already have a true history of that person that stems and simmering with violence, and you are that powerful with that many followers, I think that is calling fire in a crowded theater dangerous. And that is not protected by the Supreme Court. That is not protected speech because of the level of credible threat it could cause to someone. It's literally called clear and present danger. Had it not been Pete Davidson's face, just a random dude, cool. But you can't name him Pete Davidson in the thing and then expect people to say it's subjective because you're naming him.
Do you feel the same way about Kathy Griffin when she had the decapitated head of Trump? Okay, then
I did.
So say that loud and clear.
I did.
So it's consistent, because I can only imagine people are going to
jump on
call
this.
You a hypocrite.
Right, and I'm a stand-up and I believe in freedom of speech, but when that person was the president and she held a very non-subjective head of Donald Trump decapitated, to me, you don't threaten the president, you get in trouble, she crossed a line. And it is specific and it's limited, and the judges have made it really hard to deal with, but clear and present danger to me is Kanye about to explode.
So what if a rapper name drops another rapper that they have beef with? Like if they literally say, hey, I'm coming for you, we both know what I'm going to do. We know I'm packing whatever. I'm writing the worst rap as I talk.
It sounds really good.
Like, I just, like, that's the thing is, like, where's the line? I always try and defend speech, you know. What were you saying?
I was going to say, Tori thought, when you said packing, I think Tori thought you meant like packing a suitcase.
No, I know gun. It's a gun.
All right.
But I do know that. No, I know that. But he's right. That's a great point. But I would have to say, if I were looking at that, I would say, is the beef to the point where he's bought the house across the street? How many steps have we gotten into violation? And there's a lot more than just a beefing with a rapper or beefing with a rapper.
Right, final thought, Erica.
Yeah, this is interesting because on top of the Kathy Griffin point, what about what we recently just had this conversation when AOC was targeted and used in a cartoon, whatever you want to call it.
Violent.
We were very outraged by that. For very good reason.
Right.
So I think we can't really pick and choose in terms of what is considered art and protected and what's considered an actual threat.
Right.
Because I know I was very uncomfortable with the AOC targeted whatever that was, and I'm uncomfortable with this.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Well said. All right, so speaking of Kim, her latest look at Paris Fashion Week is going viral. The reality star wore a black bodysuit that was covered in custom yellow caution tape. Her team taped pieces and layered them on top of her until she was covered from head to toe. She paired the look with matching heels and a handbag that were also taped. Kim appears to be stepping into a new fashion era since stepping away from Kanye's fashion advice. And during Milan Fashion Week, she turned heads when she opted for an array of different sized jumpsuits. Well, first of all, when she was wearing the caution tape, isn't she one of the faces of Balenciaga?
Yeah, or she's very close with them as well.
Well, if you look at, like, in Times Square, it was just pictured, there was her modeling for Balenciaga, almost like the face of them. So was this her choice, or was this Balenciaga's people that were decorating her with the fashion tape, considering she's one of their faces?
Right. I don't know the answer, but to me, and maybe because I'm an art history major, I took it and meant that she's wrapped up in, like, an oncoming crime. And I know that sounds a little deep because it's like, but it's interesting she picked yellow police crime tape to be wrapped up in after
Does
all
police
this
crime tape have Balenciaga written on it?
Yeah, really high fashion police
That's how you know
does.
you made it. It's so
Tori, that's a terrifying interpretation.
It's just, and it probably isn't, but she's so careful about editing and what she does. Some things are really, like, deliberate. It just seemed too on the nose for me, but I could be totally wrong.
Wow. Well, shout out to my friend Terry in high school who used to wear caution tape every day. He was a punk rocker.
Cool.
Yeah, straight edge anarchist, loved him, was always wrapped himself up in caution tape. People didn't really get it then, but I hope he saw that Kim K look and was like, see, I started it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Terry.
He finishes his TV dinner and turns DBL off. What do you mean? You act like this is his coming of age moment. Like, he didn't do that.
This is gratifying to Terry.
How is that for Terry?
Shout out to Terry.
He was just a dude wearing police tape. He doesn't get props and be in the same sentence with Kim now.
Yeah, he did. He started it 20 years ago. Shout out to Terry.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Terry. Okay, so the models walking the runways had their work cut out for them. First up, take a look at this video from Paris Fashion Week. Oh my gosh, I shared this, you guys, on my Instagram. I could not believe it. I hope we have the part with the tighty whities person. So here it is. This is the Balenciaga. They got a taste of winter. There's one dude that's in tighty whities. I don't know where he is. But the runway was essentially turned into an oversized snow globe where models had to walk through fake snow that was blown around by wind turbines that were cranked up to the max, okay? And then during London Fashion Week, these models had to wear wooden shoes. A 26-year-old Dutch designer created them, saying the shoes aren't there for being shoes, but more like a tool that changes your posture.
This is what I look like walking on set today because I wore heels all Saturday. I danced my little feet off on Saturday night, and I put on heels today to walk on set. I was like, Woo, shuffle on in like they on fire.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
What is up with these shows? I get that they're supposed to be avant-garde. We're talking about them. I secretly hated the snow globe.
I did too.
I loved it.
I did
Right?
too. A little bit, yeah.
It's supposed to represent a nuclear apocalypse, okay? Now, they were carrying trash bags because that's what you would have. You had plastic things that would survive. And what's interesting is the invitations were given to you in an iPhone that was cracked, an old iPhone. And on the back, it was engraved with your personal information and where the show is. So it was as if this was an artifact after an explosion. She also mentioned she was rescued from Georgia or fled from Georgia as a youth, and Ukraine. It's all kind of playing in there. Yeah, so she was taking a stand against a nuclear apocalypse. So it's so interesting, the depth to that.
Yeah, I would say getting a shattered iPhone is interesting. I don't know if I like that. I don't like that.
It's the invite. Engraved?
I think that
I like it.
I did like the fashion. I'm not gonna tell. I did like the look with the first one. The second one, I just like. I wouldn't even look at the cardboard. I wasn't even looking at Yes, of course.
Amazing.
That is ridiculous.
Amazing.
Sam, what bothers me is no one in the audience is laughing.
Right.
There's not one person like me and my homie look at your boy. There should be at least one fun dude there.
You look like Tim.
I don't like that everybody's so serious with this nonsense.
I love that they're taking it seriously, that they're writing notes and they're like, oh yes, that's it. That's it. But again, we all know that these fashion show avant-garde looks don't translate to the looks on the street.
Right.
They take pieces of it.
Right.
So it's more of the
Exaggerated.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see pointed shoulders.
And the Dutch make famously wooden clogs, so I think that's a play on their famous footwear.
I think you're really reaching.
We got it. We gotta get to.
Really reaching.
We gotta get to Rihanna's Riri's pregnancy style because it's making headlines yet again, and I just love it. So while attending Paris Fashion Week, she flaunted her baby bump in this aqua-colored jumpsuit. It's her latest in a series of bump-bearing looks, and since announcing her pregnancy in January, this is exactly how I wished I looked when I was pregnant. She is so fierce. And, she's been getting some pushback. Jada Pinkett Smith posted a photo of her wearing a sheer little number when she was pregnant. She's like, why are people attacking Rihanna now when a lot of people have been doing this?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why has this not been a thing?
Pregnancy and is not seen as also sexy to people.
Like a fly pregnancy outfit. Why is that not a thing?
They don't mix in people's minds.
It is a thing.
I don't see it. When I'm at Trader Joe's or I'm out, somebody's like, I want to see a 8-month-old pregnant person flawless. I would love that.
You've never seen an 8-month pregnant? Well, you need to get out more.
Where are you hanging out?
I'm just saying. I have seen some very fabulous pregnancy styles, and some of them lean a little bit more like a sexy Rihanna. Some of them are super conservative, covered up. All of it is beautiful.
Yes, Erica.
Do you, boo-boo.
Exactly. Coming up on DBL, a woman's inspiring story of growing up with 2 gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference.
Closed captioning provided by...
Hi, I'm...
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Oh, someone said it looks like he had to go to the bathroom.
Erica, you have
Was
a third
the
question.
shifting clog
Huge
man
obstacles in your 28 years
with
of
the
life.
toast?
Which ones were the hardest on you?
What's
Turn around? I'm gonna cut in front of you. I'm sorry.
This is what happens. This
Tori.
poor producer. Yes, I'm so sorry.
So poor and sorry.
Yes.
You had a
Yeah.
revelation that you wrote
Sorry.
down.
Okay,
I
let's
didn't
see. I'm
realize you were
taking
wrong.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica, I need to talk to you about pregnancy fashion because I'm assuming it's an industry.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, it's an industry. But is there a high-end kind of avant-garde fashion?
Someone's already saying she's showing too much baby belly. People are already saying that.
Criticism. It's so weird. And people really get handsy with you when you're pregnant. There was one outfit that I remember wearing. It was really tight. It showed off my bump. I was very proud of it. And I can't tell you how many people, one, looked at me weird. God forbid I had a mocktail in my hand, and so many people thought I was drinking while pregnant. People think it's their business when you're pregnant. People will come up, they'll rub your tummy without even asking. There's no boundaries when people are pregnant. It's the weirdest thing. People can flex their opinions on you. They can touch you.
Except you're not the person. You're a vehicle. It's like you're not.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's back off. Your opinions, your hand, all of it.
There's an article in the New York Times today, guys, about that women who work from home who get pregnant, it says no more belly pats. They're like, thank God I can make my Zoom over my belly so no one can even see it. They don't say how much bigger I've gotten.
Right.
They don't pat my belly. It's much more private. So that's a real thing that Zoom has done.
Yeah, do you think we should just like stop commenting on people's bodies?
Yes.
Period? But then at the same time, is it weird if I go, Erica, you look fantastic?
No,
but it's
Someone's
not.
working hard.
Society loves putting people in boxes, and these boxes are often not how we feel about ourselves. Our next guest describes her life as living 2 doors down from normal. Think about that. It's a powerful statement. Please welcome author and advocate Chelsea Austin.
Yes.
Chelsea, welcome to the show. So you give the phrase, keeping it in the family, a whole new meaning. Explain.
You know, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, I hear that. I was raised by 2 incredible, and I know I'm biased, gay men who really did everything in their power to bring me into the world. And they used my dad, Kevin's sperm, and my daddy, Dennis's sister's egg, and my dad's cousin carried me. So they did everything they could to bring me into this world, and everybody had to lawyer up and make sure that both my dad and my daddy were on my birth certificate so that, God forbid something happened, they would both have legal rights to me. And that was the first time that happened in the state of California.
Wow. That's huge. Now, I got to ask you, because obviously there are going to be some people that have some issues with this next statement, but you say that you don't need a mom to succeed in life. So tell everybody, tell our audience, what are some ways that your dad stepped up for you?
You know, my parents really armed themselves with information. They made sure that they did the research and they talked to, I think, as many women as they could get a hold of. I think one of the most popular questions was always, who's going to do her hair? And I said, well, first of all, my dad's a gay. Second of all, my dad also has a cosmetology license, so I'm taken care of. But when it came to dating or boys or sex, they wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable coming to them, and they really did a fantastic job of that, and also built an army of female figures in my life that I felt comfortable going to at any time. So I stand by that. You do not need a mom to feel successful and loved and wonderful being who you are.
Love it. Chelsea, okay, now you've had some pretty big obstacles to overcome in your 28 years of life. Which ones do you find to be either the hardest or maybe the most pivotal to your growth?
That's an amazing question. So, you know, there are 2 things that really stand out for me. One was my daddy went to prison for 2 years during my senior year of college and the year following. And my biological mom, my aunt, passed away from lung cancer when she was really young. And I would say, while those experiences don't define me, they definitely have made me who I am today. And one thing that I really took away from my daddy being away, as he called it, his trip to mandatory adult sleepaway camp, was that he was grateful every day for his life, for the beauty that the sunrise brings, no matter having his freedom taken away, whatever it was, he was always grateful. And seeing his mindset and how he was able to stay positive every day and see the glass half full, I think is what I learned most from him in that moment. And from my auntie passing away, I mean, talk about losing your #1 fan. That was a challenge, but she taught me to laugh loudly and a lot, and laugh at yourself, and not take life too seriously, and to follow your dreams and your heart. I mean, she's a big reason why I wrote my book. She's a big reason why I left my career in real estate to follow where I knew I needed to be in life.
Someone, Julia Gray, one of our viewers, just wrote, I love her smile. So your auntie is looking down on you. I know, isn't that lovely? This is a really interesting part in your memoir. You said just because you're a liberal doesn't mean you're actually open-minded. Can you elaborate on that? That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, you know, it's a contentious point,
Yeah,
but
right.
I definitely believe that. I grew up in a bubble. Grew up in Malibu, California. I've lived in Los Angeles most of my life. And it wasn't until I moved across the country to go to college in a small town in Pennsylvania where I really started to meet people that were different from me politically. And I felt like I really kind of shut down. I went, well, you're not open-minded if you don't see the world the way I do. But just because they don't agree with things that I believe are non-negotiables doesn't mean that I have the only right opinion. And I believe that if you really want to connect with people and if we want to create a less divided society, we have to work on actually hearing other people out that are different from us. So I work to be more open-minded by hearing people out and being more accepting of people with very differing views from me, which is not always easy, but I do my best.
Good for you. That is very self-aware, very transparent.
See, I do the opposite. I shut down people that disagree with me.
He's not lying.
I marginalize
He hates
and
people.
I extract
That's
people
not
that don't
true.
think like
He
I do.
uses us.
It's
That's
worked
not true.
perfectly.
Here's, I think, a really interesting question and hopefully a takeaway for all our viewers and absolutely all the readers of your book. How can we create our own identity and redefine our existing labels like you have?
You know, I think labels are fascinating things because they're not actually for us. They're for everybody else to better understand who we are. And so often we end up with labels that we're not totally comfortable with. Like, I was known as the girl with 2 gay dads. I still am for most of my life. But it's not the only interesting thing about me. And so I love to take labels and redefine them for myself and create a meaning that I'm comfortable with. I've also been called relentless a lot in my life, which is not necessarily a positive word that you use to describe someone. But I had to take that and say, you know what? It just means that I am relentlessly dedicated to making my dreams a reality. And so if you can take words and give them the meaning that you are comfortable with and check the other words in the bin, you get to decide that and no one else.
Wow, Chelsea, you're such an old soul. Like, your aura just like jumps off the screen. You know, obviously also a testament to your 2 fantastic dads. Thank you so much, Chelsea. DBL Nation, find more on Chelsea and pre-order her upcoming inspirational memoir, Inexplicably Me, on chelseaaustin.com. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, Chelsea.
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. There are many kind-hearted people in the world. Watch how a woman was treated with kindness after a long day of volunteering in today's Heart Threads.
This woman was stuck in freezing temperatures, but one man's selfless act made all the difference. Sloan is a volunteer with the Memphis Community Alliance for the Homeless. She was assisting at a vaccination event when she found herself unprepared.
I did not realize the event was going to be outside, so I was a little bit underdressed for it. Luckily, I had a hat and a coat, but I realized that I had forgotten my gloves.
After the event, Sloan sat in freezing temperatures as she waited for the bus. A homeless man noticed her shivering and offered her his gloves.
I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. I literally had tears in my eyes. It meant so much to me to think that somebody who has so little in terms of possessions would be thinking about me.
The gentleman also offered Sloan food and water, but she respectfully declined. When she finally got home, she shared her experience on Facebook.
All the frustration and uncertainty and the bone-chilling temperatures I felt that day, I knew that was only temporary, but for the people who helped me, that was their daily reality.
Sloan said she is grateful for his compassion, especially since he's a total stranger.
I think there's such a stigma amongst our unsheltered neighbors in the community, and it's so easy for a lot of people to look the other way. I just wanted to share what had happened to me and let others know just how amazing other people can
be. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Eating applesauce like my daughter Sophie.
Tommy!
Oh, she
Why are you
ate
doing it with a
within
fork?
seconds.
I always eat it with a fork.
Okay, we're out of time. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Same time, same place.
If you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that. We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations. But right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones, that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
About today on Daily Blast Live.
Ukraine remains under attack, with citizens running to safety as a little girl sings her heart out in a bunker. Hundreds of trucks line up to protest COVID mandates. Are they a little late to the game? Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again over mask rules.
We need to fight for freedom again.
A woman's inspiring story of growing up with 2 gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference. And the most bizarre styles at Paris Fashion Week. Why are these models strutting in the snow?
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here, drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Many of our viewers are already writing in regarding Ukraine, so let's talk about it. Did you guys actually see this over the weekend? We want you to see this. For many ordinary Ukrainians who are trying to escape the war, they're finding it very hard to get to safety. More than 1.5 million refugees have made it out, but some who are on their way are coming under fire by Russian troops, including women and children. There is this horrible video that went viral of a rocket attack on civilians who were on an evacuation route to safety. Wow, some were killed. But some people who are evacuating are getting a helping hand. Check out these pictures of elderly and disabled people getting helped by Ukrainian soldiers as they try to escape their homes. Well, a lot of our viewers are asking, Tori, should Americans take in Ukrainian refugees, considering that 1.7 million, right? And they're estimating 7.1 million will become refugees. This is a humanitarian crisis. What do you think?
This is where America shows what America can do. And if we take in the weak and the huddled masses, like it says on the Statue of Liberty, this is when we decide if we are really the red, white, and blue and the country of freedom, because 7 million people is too much for the European nations to take in, just physically. We will see overflow. And if we don't open our arms and consider ourselves a Christian nation, a Judeo-Christian nation, then what are we doing? Then what are we doing?
We've never asked this question with any other country in which there have been refugees. I mean, even if you want to just look at Central America, Mexico, drug war going on that we have some hand in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And, you know, it's like when those people are fleeing on foot, walking thousands of miles.
Carrying their children.
Right. I saw real-time updates of like how they were moving, you know, like it was a Santa tracker or something. So it's very interesting that like this is, and this does not mean that I don't want to take in refugees. I'm just saying I hope that we see that maybe because there are, let's be honest, people are seeing refugees that for the first time probably look like them.
Yeah,
they understand
white. Yeah.
that these are just human beings that have been traumatized, they're terrified, and they want to feel safety, just like you do. So just because somebody doesn't look like you, doesn't speak like you, just remember how you feel right now, because in this moment, I'm down to take in refugees. So let's figure out a way to do it.
Trevor Noah, to your point, had a very viral meme over the weekend that gave a lot of people thought, right, to pause for thought. And again, this is duality of thought. This is in no way taking away any attention from the Ukrainians who are suffering right now. But he said the word refugee in so many words is not synonymous with brown people. And for the first time, people are starting to realize that. So just remember that there's conflict everywhere, to the southern that you point out, to Yemen, and we can only hope that people from all over the world get the refuge that they seek.
Absolutely.
It's heartbreaking, but in the midst of this war, an American has become trapped in Russia. Two-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA star Brittany Griner has been detained in Russia. She was arrested on drug charges after authorities found a liquid vape pen that they said contained cannabis oil. In the offseason, Brittany does play for a Russian team. Now her friends and family are demanding her release, and a lot of people fear she could become a pawn between Russia and the U.S. A lot of people also, Erica, fear that that was specifically why she was detained.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want everyone to be very careful when they're talking about this conversation, because there is a lot. It's interesting to me that we've had all of these conversations about Russia, the distrust, the calculation, and the moment that we talk about Brittany Griner, it's what she did, how she didn't, and maybe she shouldn't have been doing X, Y, and Z. No, she is a political pawn. I can understand. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks that she has been detained in Russia. Now, there is a school of thought, because obviously a lot of people are starting to have this conversation, that they were trying to quietly and safely get her returned back to the U.S., and that was a part of the reason why it was so quiet. But this is 3 weeks on a international news cycle that she is getting lost in. I'm looking at the change.org petition, which has less than 2,000 people who have even lended just their name to get more attention on the fact that we have an American who has been detained in Russia for the past 3 weeks. I'm gonna be very clear about this, because I look at Brittany and I see my sister, okay? She is a queer, black, non-binary. The way she's identified also means that we are not making her a priority in mainstream media, because she doesn't fit a damsel in distress narrative. She belongs to us. She is one of us, and she is in a country that has literally started a war during wartime, and we don't even know. The last time she's been heard from on social media was February 5th. It's still ambiguous as to when she was taken and what's happened to her. We don't know anything. We need to be alarmed by this situation, and we need to raise hell to let people know that Brittany Griner matters to us. I can't, this literally has been keeping me up at night, that this is going on and it is not a priority.
Will you say the petition again?
At change.org, you can go and sign the petition. It was started by Tamron Spruill, who is a journalist who covers women's basketball. Obviously, this is just,
And let's also be clear for this. They said they found maybe hashish oil or something like that. I'm not willing to agree to understand that Putin didn't do anything very malicious in terms of either planting that. I mean, we're talking Russia here.
Well, he already has, let's just call it what it is. He already has a history of illegally detaining individuals to use as pawns for his own political agenda.
Like the timing on this,
So
right?
let's remember the timing. Let's also remember that this is an individual, regardless, who just being queer, just the way she looks, gets treated, criminalized, and discriminated against in many ways in that country. So to Erica's point, everybody, this is a call to action. Go look for that change.org petition. We will put it up on our social media channels, but just go to change.org and look up Brittany Griner.
It'd be nice if
so
the
much.
NBA could give that a retweet as well. I think they got a couple followers.
I agree. All right, so Ukraine is also releasing more videos of captured Russian soldiers, and it's really interesting to hear from them about what they were told when they were, or why they were what they were doing in that country and how they feel about it now. Take a look.
Нам говорили, что якобы на территории Украины, не судите строго, что на территории Украины господствует фашистский режим, что националисты, нацисты захватили власть в свои руки, что обычным людям нужно помочь избавиться вот от этого.
Yoke means, in case people are confused, that's Putin. And what they're saying is that the Russia equals propaganda. You just don't know what you're getting. They're giving you and curating you things. That's why I think maybe he even planted that, possibly. So you never can trust Russia. So what he's saying is we've got to stop listening to them because we thought this was a country overrun by Nazis. Zelensky, the president, is a Jew whose grandfather fought against Nazis and lost people in the Holocaust. It's all lies. So what's interesting is the normal people getting social media, you're getting a first-hand crowdsource of someone saying, we're being lied to. And let me remind you, this happens in all countries, including ourselves. January 6th, this really reminds me of. We got to get down to the person who incited this, who thought this. I'm not trying to go there, but you've got to think of the similarities
I think they're very similar, and that's what I was thinking about as he was talking. It just shows you that, absolutely. It just shows you that information and facts. People always go, Erica, we need some facts. This is some facts in here, Sam. Well, facts are facts to certain people. To certain people, they think that as we sit here today, there is a large group of Americans that think that President Obama was not born here. That is a fact to them. So when we start talking about facts, we have to understand that we have to be working from the same playbook, and it's impossible when you do business and highlight people like Putin, like we've done for a long time, as a person that wants to do business at the table. And when you normalize somebody like this, when they start acting like this, now everybody's like, oh, what's up? For the last couple of years, it has been hey, he's a smart guy, and I like this guy.
Yeah.
We don't hear that so much anymore. I wonder why that changed. But for the last couple of years, it has been all about, hey, he's a guy that's just trying to organize his country, and I just don't hear that same rhetoric. So I wonder where all of his cheerleaders are now, because I don't hear them.
Right. Well, good conversations coming up on DBL. Uplifting moments from Ukraine, from love prevailing to music making people smile. We're going to share it all next. Plus, former child star Ricky Schroeder is at it again, recording his own mask rant. We'll show you what went down inside a museum. And Kanye West is defending his new music video that targets Pete Davidson, why he says there's no issue with it.
Closed captioning provided by
So we're still continuing the conversation about Brittany Griner, and I think that people need to understand this story was not a national story until this weekend. It's been 3 weeks.
That's disgusting.
And
Yeah, I didn't know that
knew.
either. 3 weeks.
In
a Russian
first, right, in the first, and that's why I'm saying that there is a credible school of thought, because I'm like 2 degrees of separation from this, that they were attempting to get this done, to have her brought back without it becoming a big story, that they were trying to get her back quietly. But at 3 weeks and no one knows,
unacceptable.
like there's just no way. And the fact that there is a war going on, and obviously all of these other stories, which are very important stories, are taking priority over this story for someone who is a triply marginalized.
Right.
So if we don't show, this is a litmus test on who is important in America and why. If we do not show that this is a person who is of importance to be heard, their story to be heard, then how long will she be there?
Right.
And what is happening to her?
Have we heard any word of her state?
No, like
nothing.
There's
been zero communication.
CNN just did a story where her wife has spoken out, and they're amplifying her voice. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee was the first.
But
because
we don't
she's
know
from Houston.
anything. Nothing. And she's also been sentenced to, it could be up to 5 to 10 years in a Russian
You know
prison.
what's horrific? It's like, to Erica's point, if that were, because, you know, she's also a gold medalist. If you don't know who she is one of the best athletes in the world. Supplement that with Shaun White. What would happen right now if Shaun White was locked up? It would be top of the news every single day, and we would do everything in our capabilities to get Shaun White out. Welcome back. All throughout this war, we've been sharing some moving pictures and videos that are going viral out of Ukraine. We've got a few more today. Check out this picture of strollers that are waiting at a Polish train station. They've been left there for mothers who are fleeing with their small children. Then look at this beautiful video of 2 Ukrainian soldiers getting married on the front lines in Kyiv. The mayor paid a visit to the couple who are wearing fatigues for their big day. This next video is of a young girl singing Let It Go in Ukrainian while she and others hunker down in a bomb shelter. Take a listen.
Отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь.
Браво, браво, умница.
Wow. Idina Menzel responded, tweeting, "We see you. We really, really see you." Idina Menzel is the one that sang Let It Go and, you know, provided the voice of Elsa for Frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, that just puts it in reality,
I
right?
see you choke it up, Sam, and it's like, I don't want to speak for you, but when you look at a child singing like that and you know her parents are close by, hopefully, and just as their parent, you know that you're helpless. Like, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, and all you can do is just enjoy the moment with your kid. But it's your absolute worst fear is to just be, you know, minute to minute, second to second with these precious children. And, you know, I worry about my kids going to college all the time, and that seems frivolous, just thinking about like how much their lives are in danger over there. I hope we see an end to this, but
One ego guy.
One narcissistic egomaniac has done this to both Ukraine and Russia. There's Russian soldiers that don't know what they're doing. They're not equipped. This is all wrong on both
Don't you think that's
ends.
too easy, though? One guy?
No,
I think this is an ideology.
don't.
One guy can't do anything unless other people go along with it.
One guy who has the most nuclear power of anyone in the world can and does and shows what happens when he gets ticked off. And what's scary is the unpredictability. Americans getting trapped here. What's amazing of the Ukraine resiliency is that in all of that, they have art. They sing. There's a violinist I saw.
We're seeing snippets, though. Let's keep it 100.
Oh, it's awful.
There is so much suffering going on in those bunkers. And I'm not saying you're
No.
I just want to keep it 100 that, you know, we share with our viewers, you know, some of these moments because it's those moments that, to your point, Tori, really speak to the courage, to the resiliency, to the unity of the Ukrainian people. It's absolutely inspiring. But at the same time, after you see that highlight reel, you know that they are mourning people. They're listening to bombs. It is a nightmare. And to see that girl, that reminds me so much of Sophie, having a moment. It could be any one of us, but it's not. So we sit here behind our desk and we report on it, and it's that weird juxtaposition of so much suffering elsewhere and us living our lives that I have trouble grappling. I don't understand how you feel helpless. You absolutely feel helpless. And I just want to over with for those poor people. It's just absolutely disgusting. Coming up on DBL is former child star Ricky Schroeder out of line. We're talking about what happened between him and the security team at a museum next.
This was...
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connecting the dots.
Welcome back. Following news from the CDC that 90% of Americans live in areas where face masks are no longer needed. Many states and cities have started easing COVID mask guidelines in schools. But it seems like not everyone has gotten the message that pandemic-era restrictions are winding down. Take a look at this convoy. Over 1,000 semi-trucks, recreational vehicles, and cars circled Washington, D.C.'s 64-mile-long beltway twice on Sunday, clogging the highway to protest mask and vaccine mandates. They're part of the People's Convoy, and they plan to clog the Beltway each day this week until their demands are met. But get this, former child actor Ricky Schroeder joined the convoy and had another public meltdown about mask requirements. Take a look at this encounter he had with a security guard at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Museum.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. You can't come in. I can't come into this museum without a mask. Without a mask. God's laws are higher than the federal government's, but you're going to enforce man's laws. Yes, we are. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the man who defeated the Nazis, and you've become one.
Wow. So DBL Nation, do you support the People's Convoy? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in.
Yeah. What happens in like a month or a couple months or so when it's 100% no mask mandate? What's the new thing? I mean, I'm like super impressed that anybody can afford to block 64 miles the way that gas prices are right now.
Talk about
Wow.
privilege, right? Like, how silly do you look after what we just showed, right? That we're winding down the mask mandates. We're winning. We should all be on the same team, and yet you're whining and complaining over a security guard who, by the way, is doing his dang job.
But I think he is doing his job, Tori, and I think that's a way deeper conversation. I think we're losing a lot of the people that work in the service industry in any kind of way because of this. I told you guys I was in LA a couple weeks ago, and I had to go to a CVS twice in one day, and both times there was somebody berating the manager. It's a different manager, different person. I was, when I got stuck in your hometown in Chicago a couple weeks ago, my flight officially got canceled, and I was going to stay overnight. I went to go get a cup of coffee from Starbucks, and it was a 20-year-old young black woman there. I'm 44, so she's a girl to me, but she's a woman. And, you know, I go, how's your day going? She goes, it's good. You know, there's been no flight cancellation, so people aren't being mean to me today. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she said, when a flight's canceled, just people walk over and they just say mean stuff.
Take it out on you.
So that's what we do to our waiters, waitresses, to our security guards, and it's cool. But now we don't have anybody working those shifts. Taco Bell, I know for a fact the one on Colorado, was closed for the dinner shift. Nobody at Taco Bell. Think of the potheads. Because there's nobody to work there because your uncles are going there being disrespectful to people. And guess what, guys? There's nobody at your favorite bar now. There's nobody working in Vegas. When I stay in hotels, there's maybe one person working, whereas it used to be 5 or 6. So this is great. This Ricky Schroeder and everybody else is the reason we're living like this. Sorry, I took up the whole segment.
It has to do with social media again, because you have a group of people validating his behavior, applauding his behavior, calling him, you know, a real patriot. First of all, thank you for calling it privilege. This is such a disgusting display of privilege considering all the people who are really suffering over in Ukraine. It's also a display of absolute privilege when you look at someone like Eric and I who lost people to COVID.
Right.
So not only is it that, but then you have to couple it with the fact that they do finally feel seen and heard within their group on social media, which gives them the power to continue this disgusting behavior. So I don't know where we go with it because freedom of speech.
Right. Like, I'm
so
all
what do
for
you do?
I'm all for a protest. Like, I get that. I just think the timing of this is odd since we're winding it all down.
Well, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort.
Okay.
Like 90% no mandates. There's still 10.
Half of the truck convoy turned around, like in Nevada.
I don't understand.
Because the gas is high, like Erica said, bro.
Yeah, it looks like 74% of you do not support that convoy. All right, coming up on DBL, an author and advocate for the LGBTQ community joins us live to share how growing up with two gay dads has helped her inspire the next generation.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariante Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we got, Tori?
Okay, so Don, we appreciate you just wrote in. I just signed the petition, Erica, about Brittany. We really appreciate it. Again, change.org. Look for Brittany Griner. Appreciate that. Kat G says, I'm seeing those empty strollers and thinking about those innocent kids in danger. It's the hardest part for me. Twin78 says it truly brings a silver lining to a dark cloud. I think that little girl's voice. And Adam says, Alan, Sam, you're both so well-spoken. I love your hearts because you're amazing people, and yet you keep it professional. There was nothing about Erica or myself.
Hey.
Right, we're good.
Yeah, First of all, they can shine.
You can shine.
It does not dull our flame.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm kidding. If you're leaving us, thank you for the compliment. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. We've got the most bizarre styles from Fashion Week, like these models walking a runway in the snow. Plus, this Kanye West new music video targeting Pete Davidson. Really just art. Why he says that's all it is. We're going to discuss all that and more coming up next.
If you want to send donations to help people in Ukraine, it's important to take a moment to be sure your money won't go to someone hoping to profit off your empathy. Some TikTok users have been using videos and live streams to do just that. We're going to show you some examples of warning signs to look out for. Take a look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations. But right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. It's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones, that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. All right, so Kanye West. He's defending his latest video, calling it art. A warning: some may find this video disturbing. Now, last week, he released this Easy music video, which shows a Pete Davidson look-alike being kidnapped, decapitated, and buried. Yesterday, Kanye posted on his Instagram saying, quote, "Art is therapy." He goes on to say, art simplifies or inspires and simplifies the world. Art is not a proxy for any ill or harm. Any suggestion otherwise about my art is false. Erica, we've been talking about this and the almost like the build up to where we are now with Kanye and his music and the divorce. What do you think about his newest clarification?
I don't think it was a clarification, because the truth is art is subjective, and it's subjective by the interpretation of the person consuming it. So I don't think you can really say that's not what it is if you're calling it art, because doesn't it remain open? You're an art history major.
I have a really hard time
Tori's
right
been
this.
waiting for this
No,
moment.
because I have a really hard time with this, because I'm about to disagree with Erica on something that I hold very dear to my heart, that art should have a wide range of should be not prohibited in a wide range of things, even if it's things I don't like, right? But here's the problem. Here's where it crosses the line. art can be subjective and abstract and all of that, and it can be a realism, but when you make it the face of Pete Davidson, and then you call it Pete Davidson, he calls him Pete Davidson in the song,
Mm-hmm.
and you already have a true history of that person that stems and simmering with violence, and you are that powerful with that many followers, I think that that is calling fire in a crowded theater dangerous. And that is not protected by the Supreme Court. That is not protected speech because of the level of credible threat it could cause to someone. It's literally called clear and present danger. Had it not been Pete Davidson's face, just a random dude, cool. But you can't name him Pete Davidson in the thing and then expect people to say it's subjective because you're naming him.
Do you feel the same way about Kathy Griffin when she had the decapitated head of Trump? Okay, then
I did.
So say that loud and clear.
I did.
So it's consistent because I can only imagine people are going to
jump on
call you a hypocrite.
Right, and I'm a stand-up and I believe in freedom of speech, but when that person was the president and she held a very non-subjective head of Donald Trump decapitated, to me, you don't threaten the president, you get in trouble, she crossed a line. And it is specific and it's limited and the judges have made it really hard to deal with, but clear and present danger to me is Kanye about to explode.
So what if a rapper name drops another rapper that they have beef with? Like if they literally say, hey, I'm coming for you, we both know what I'm going to do, we know I'm packing whatever, I'm writing the worst rap as I talk.
It sounds really good.
That's the thing is like, where's the line? I always try and defend speech, you know. What were you saying?
I was going to say, Tori thought, when you said packing, I think Tori thought you meant like packing a suitcase.
No, I know gun. It's a gun.
All right.
But I didn't know that. No, I know that. But he's right. That's a great point. But I would have to say, if I were looking at that, I would say, is the beef to the point where he's bought the house across the street? How many steps have we gotten into violation? And there's a lot more than just a beefing with a rapper or beefing with rappers.
All right, final thought, Erica.
Yeah, this is interesting because on top of the Kathy Griffin point, what about what we recently just had this conversation when AOC was targeted and used in a cartoon, whatever you want to call it.
Violent.
We were very outraged by that. For very good reason.
Right.
So I think we can't really pick and choose in terms of what is considered art and protected and what's considered an actual threat.
Right.
Because I know I was very uncomfortable with the AOC targeted whatever that was, and I'm uncomfortable with this.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Well said. All right, so speaking of Kim, her latest look at Paris Fashion Week is going viral. The reality star wore a black bodysuit that was covered in custom yellow caution tape. Her team taped pieces and layered them on top of her until she was covered from head to toe. She paired the look with matching heels and a handbag that were also taped. Kim appears to be stepping into a new fashion era since stepping away from Kanye's fashion advice. And during Milan Fashion Week, she turned heads when she opted for an array of different sized jumpsuits. Well, first of all, when she was wearing the caution tape, isn't she one of the faces of Balenciaga?
Yeah, so she's very close with them as well.
Well, if you look at like in Times Square, it was just pictured, there was her modeling for Balenciaga, almost like the face of them. So was this her choice or was this Balenciaga's people that were decorating her with the fashion tape, considering she's one of their faces?
Right. I don't know the answer, but to me, and maybe because I'm an art history major, I took it and meant that she's wrapped up in like an oncoming crime. And I know that sounds a little deep because it's like, but it's interesting she picked yellow police crime tape to be wrapped up in after all this.
Does police crime tape have Balenciaga written on it?
Yeah, really high fashion police
That's how you know
does.
you made it. It's so
Tori, that's a terrifying interpretation.
It's just, and it probably isn't, but she's so careful about editing and what she does. Some things are really like deliberate. It just seemed too on the nose for me, but I could be totally wrong.
Wow. Well, shout out to my friend Terry in high school who used to wear caution tape every day. He was a punk rocker.
Cool.
Yeah, straight edge anarchist, loved him, was always wrapped himself up in caution tape. People didn't really get it then, but I hope he saw that Kim K look and was like, see, I started it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Terry.
He finishes his TV dinner and turns DBL off. Like what do you mean? You act like this is his coming of age moment. Like he didn't do that.
This is gratifying to Terry.
How is that for Terry?
Shout out to Terry.
He was just a dude wearing police tape. He doesn't get props and be in the same sense with Kim now.
Yeah, he did. He started it 20 years ago. Shout out to Terry.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out
I'm
to
sorry,
Terry.
Terry.
Okay, so the models walking the runways had their work cut out for them. First up, take a look at this video from Paris Fashion Week. Oh my gosh, I shared this, you guys, on my Instagram. I could not believe it. I hope we have the part with the tidy whities person. So here it is. This is the Balenciaga. They got a taste of winter. There's one dude that's in tidy whities. I don't know where he is. But the runway was essentially turned into an oversized snow globe where models had to walk through fake snow that was blown around by wind turbines that were cranked up to the max, okay? And then during London Fashion Week, these models had to wear wooden shoes. A 26-year-old Dutch designer created them, saying the shoes aren't there for being shoes, but more like a tool that changes your posture.
This is what I look like walking on set today because I wore heels all Saturday. I danced my little feet off on Saturday night, and I put on heels today to walk on set. I was like, ooh, shuffle on in, like they on fire.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
Do the shuffle.
Yeah.
What is up with these shows? I get that they're supposed to be avant-garde. We're talking about them. I secretly hated the snow globe.
I did too.
I
loved it.
I did
Right?
too. A little bit, yeah.
It's supposed to represent a nuclear apocalypse, okay? Now, they were carrying trash bags because that's what you would have. You had plastic things that would survive. And what's interesting is the invitations were given to you in an iPhone that was cracked, an old iPhone. And on the back, it was engraved with your personal information and where the show is. So it was as if this was an artifact after an explosion. She also mentioned she was rescued from Georgia or fled from Georgia as a youth, and Ukraine. It's all kind of playing in there. Yeah, so she was taking a stand against a nuclear apocalypse. So it's so interesting, the depth to that.
Yeah, I would say getting a shattered iPhone is interesting. I don't know if I like that. I don't like that.
It's the invite. Engraved?
I think that
I like it.
I did like the fashion. I'm not gonna tell. I did like the look with the first one. The second one, I just like. I wouldn't even look at the cardboard. I wasn't even looking at Yes, of course.
Amazing.
That is ridiculous.
Amazing.
Sam, what bothers me is no one in the audience is laughing.
Right.
There's not one person like me and my homie look at your boy. There should be at least one fun dude there.
You look like Thomas.
I don't like that everybody's so serious with this nonsense.
I love that they're taking it seriously, that they're writing notes and they're like, oh yes, that's it. That's it. But again, we all know that these fashion show avant-garde looks don't translate to the looks on the street.
Right.
They take pieces of it.
Right.
So it's more of the
Exaggerated.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see pointed shoulders.
And the Dutch make famously wooden clogs, so I think that's a play on their famous footwear.
I think you're really reaching.
We got it. We gotta get to.
Really reaching.
We gotta get to Rihanna as Riri's pregnancy style because it's making headlines yet again, and I just love it. So while attending Paris Fashion Week, she flaunted her baby bump in this aqua-colored jumpsuit. It's her latest in a series of bump-bearing looks, and since announcing her pregnancy in January, this is exactly how I wished I looked when I was pregnant. She is so fierce. And, she's been getting some pushback. Jada Pinkett Smith posted a photo of her wearing a sheer little number when she was pregnant. She's like, why are people attacking Rihanna now when a lot of people have been doing this?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why has this not been a thing?
Pregnancy and is not seen as also sexy to people.
Like a fly pregnancy outfit. Why is that not a thing?
They don't mix in people's minds.
It is a thing.
I don't see it. When I'm at Trader Joe's or I'm out, somebody's like, I want to see a 8-month-old pregnant person flawless. I would love that.
You've never seen an 8-month pregnant?
That.
Well, you need to get out more.
Where are you hanging out?
I'm just saying. I have seen some very fabulous pregnancy styles, and some of them lean a little bit more like a sexy Rihanna. Some of them are super conservative, covered up. All of it is beautiful.
Yes, Erica.
Do you, boo-boo.
Exactly. Do you. Coming up on DBL, a woman's inspiring story of growing up with 2 gay dads. She's here live to share how her modern family is making a big difference.
Closed captioning provided by...
Hi, I'm...
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Someone said it looks like he had to go to the bathroom.
Erica, you have
Was
the third
the
question.
shifting clog
Huge
man
obstacles in your 28 years
with
of
the
life.
toast?
Which ones were the hardest on you?
What's
around? I'm gonna cut in front of you. I'm sorry.
This is what happens.
Hi,
This
Tori.
poor producer.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
So poor and sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, let's see. I'm taking over. Yeah.
Erica, I need to talk to you about pregnancy fashion because I'm assuming it's an industry.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, it's an industry.
Thank you.
Is there
Thank you.
like a high-end kind of
Well,
avant-garde fashion? Like,
Alice, someone's already saying she's showing too much baby belly. Like, people are already saying that.
Criticism. It's so weird.
interesting?
And people really get handsy with you when you're pregnant. There was one outfit that I remember wearing. It was really tight. It showed off my bump. I was very proud of it. And I can't tell you how many people, one, looked at me weird. God forbid I had a mocktail in my hand, and so many people thought I was drinking while pregnant. People think it's their business when you're pregnant. People will come up, they'll rub your tummy without even asking. There's no boundaries when people are pregnant. It's the weirdest thing. People can flex their opinions on you. They can touch you.
Except you're not the person, you're a vehicle. It's like you're not.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like back off. Your opinions, your hand, all of it.
There's an article in the New York Times today, guys, about that women who work from home who get pregnant, it says no more belly pats. They're like, thank God I can make my Zoom over my belly so no one can even see it. They don't say how much bigger I've gotten.
Right.
They don't pat my belly. It's much more private. So that's a real thing that Zoom has done.
Yeah, do you think we should just like stop commenting on people's bodies?
Yes.
Period? But then at the same time, is it weird if I go, Erica, you look fantastic?
No,
but it's
Someone's
not
working hard.
Society loves putting people in boxes, and these boxes are often not how we feel about ourselves. Our next guest describes her life as living 2 doors down from normal. Think about that. It's a powerful statement. Please welcome author and advocate Chelsea Austin.
Yes.
Yay! Chelsea, welcome to the show. So you give the phrase, keeping it in the family, a whole new meaning. Explain.
You know, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, I hear that. I was raised by 2 incredible, and I know I'm biased, gay men who really did everything in their power to bring me into the world. And they used my dad, Kevin's sperm, and my daddy, Dennis's sister's egg, and my dad's cousin carried me. So they did everything they could to bring me into this world, and everybody had to lawyer up and make sure that both my dad and my daddy were on my birth certificate so that, God forbid something happened, they would both have legal rights to me. And that was the first time that happened in the state of California.
Wow.
That's huge. Now, I got to ask you, because obviously there are going to be some people that have some issues with this next statement, but you say that you don't need a mom to succeed in life. So tell everybody, tell our audience, what are some ways that your dad stepped up for you?
You know, my parents really armed themselves with information. They made sure that they did the research and they talked to, I think, as many women as they could get a hold of. I think one of the most popular questions was always, who's going to do her hair? And I said, well, first of all, my dad's a gay. Second of all, my dad also has a cosmetology license, so I'm taken care of. But when it came to dating or boys or sex, they wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable coming to them, and they really did a fantastic job of that, and also built an army of female figures in my life that I felt comfortable going to at any time. So I stand by that. You do not need a mom to feel successful and loved and wonderful being who you are.
I love it. Chelsea, okay, now you've had some pretty big obstacles to overcome in your 28 years of life. Which ones do you find to be either the hardest or maybe the most pivotal to your growth?
That's an amazing question. So, you know, there are 2 things that really stand out for me. One was my daddy went to prison for 2 years during my senior year of college and the year following. And my biological mom, my aunt, passed away from lung cancer when she was really young. And I would say, while those experiences don't define me, they definitely have made me who I am today. And one thing that I really took away from my daddy being away, as he called it, his trip to mandatory adult sleepaway camp, was that he was grateful every day for his life, for the beauty that the sunrise brings, no matter having his freedom taken away, whatever it was, he was always grateful. And seeing his mindset and how he was able to stay positive every day and see the glass half full, I think is what I learned most from him in that moment. And from my auntie passing away, I mean, talk about losing your number one fan. That was a challenge, but she taught me to laugh loudly and a lot, and laugh at yourself, and not take life too seriously, and to follow your dreams and your heart. I mean, she's a big reason why I wrote my book. She's a big reason why I left my career in real estate to follow where I knew I needed to be in life.
Someone, Julia Gray, one of our viewers, just wrote it. I love her smile. So your auntie is looking down on you. Oh. I know, isn't that lovely? This is a really interesting part in your memoir. You said just because you're a liberal doesn't mean you're actually open-minded. Can you elaborate on that? That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, you know, it's a contentious point,
yeah,
but
right.
I definitely believe that. I grew up in a bubble. Grew up in Malibu, California. I've lived in Los Angeles most of my life. And it wasn't until I moved across the country to go to college in a small town in Pennsylvania where I really started to meet people that were different from me politically. And I felt like I really kind of shut down. I went, well, you're not open-minded if you don't see the world the way I do. But just because they don't agree with things that I believe are non-negotiables doesn't mean that I have the only right opinion. And I believe that if you really want to connect with people, and if we want to create a less divided society, we have to work on actually hearing other people out that are different from us. So I work to be more open-minded by hearing people out and being more accepting of people with very differing views from me, which is not always easy, but I do my best.
Good for
That
you.
is very self-aware, very transparent.
See, I do the opposite. I shut
him down?
people that disagree with me.
He's not lying.
I marginalize
He hates
and
people.
I extract
That's
people
not
that don't
true.
think like
He
I do.
uses us.
It's worked perfectly.
Here's, I think, a really interesting question, and hopefully a takeaway for all our viewers and absolutely all the readers of your book. How can we create our own identity and redefine our existing labels like you have?
You know, I think labels are fascinating things because they're not actually for us. They're for everybody else to better understand who we are. And so often we end up with labels that we're not totally comfortable with. Like, I was known as the girl with two gay dads. I still am for most of my life. But it's not the only interesting thing about me. And so I love to take labels and redefine them for myself and create a meaning that I'm comfortable with. I've also been called relentless a lot in my life, which is not necessarily a positive word that you use to describe someone. But I had to take that and say, you know what? It just means that I am relentlessly dedicated to making my dreams a reality. And so if you can take words and give them the meaning that you are comfortable with and check the other words in the bin, you get to decide that and no one else.
Wow, Chelsea, you're such an old soul. Like, your aura just like jumps off the screen. You know, obviously also a testament to your two fantastic dads. Thank you so much, Chelsea. DBL Nation, find more on Chelsea and pre-order her upcoming inspirational memoir, Inexplicably Me, on chelseaaustin.com. We'll be right back.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Chelsea.
I feel young.
You're filling up your gas tank only to see another station a block away with gas 20 cents cheaper. But how is that possible? Let's connect the dots. According to the Association for Convenience and Fuel Retailing, the price of gas is determined by a few things that can change from one station to another. First, the price of crude oil accounts for nearly 70% of what you pay at the pump. It changes with supply and demand. Second, distribution. Moving crude oil gets expensive. It goes from refinery through a pipeline or across an ocean onto a truck that moves it to the station. Once there, individual contracts between rigs and gas stations can differ a lot. A convenient corner store at a busy intersection may get a better price than the mom and pop down the street. Third, before a station puts up those numbers on the big marquee, they must add taxes, federal and state. And keep in mind, state gas taxes are usually higher in North Carolina than South Carolina. Finally, we can't forget the profits. Like any business, making money is the aim of station owners. And that is connecting the dots. Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. There are many kind-hearted people in the world. Watch how a woman was treated with kindness after a long day of volunteering in today's Heart Threads.
This woman was stuck in freezing temperatures, but one man's selfless act made all the difference. Sloan is a volunteer with the Memphis Community Alliance for the Homeless. She was assisting at a vaccination event when she found herself unprepared.
I did not realize the event was going to be outside, so I was a little bit underdressed for it. Luckily, I had a hat and a coat, but I realized that I had forgotten my gloves.
After the event, Sloan sat in freezing temperatures as she waited for the bus. A homeless man noticed her shivering and offered her his gloves.
I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. I literally had tears in my eyes. It meant so much to me to think that somebody who has so little in terms of possessions would be thinking about me.
The gentleman also offered Sloan food and water, but she respectfully declined. When she finally got home, she shared her experience on Facebook.
All the frustration and uncertainty and the bone-chilling temperatures I felt that day, I knew that was only temporary, but for the people who helped me, that was their daily reality.
Sloan said she is grateful for his compassion, especially since he's a total stranger.
I think there's such a stigma amongst our unsheltered neighbors in the community, and it's so easy for a lot of people to look the other way. I just wanted to share what had happened to me and let others know just how amazing other people can
be. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
More than a week has passed since Russian armed forces invaded Ukraine. The Biden administration has since imposed several sanctions on Russia, including the country's top financial institutions. Russia's oil industry, however, has so far been spared from U.S. sanctions. Several people online are calling for boycotts of Russian-made products, including vodka and gasoline. People on social media are asking whether certain gas stations in the U.S. use oil from Russia. So, can you tell if the gas you buy at the gas station comes from Russia? Our sources are the Department of Energy, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. While the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil, it's also one of the largest importers. Because the U.S. requires a lot more oil than it can make on its own, roughly 60% of the country's oil is imported from foreign countries. Data tallied by the Energy Information Administration shows that in 2021, the U.S. imported about 3% of its crude oil from Russia. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains on its website that it cannot identify the specific origin of gasoline sold at gas stations. Why? Well, because crude oil and other ingredients used at refineries come from a variety of domestic and international sources. The entire process starts underground throughout various locations around the world. After crude oil is extracted and sent to refineries where it's mixed with oil from other sources, it's processed and later stored until it's ready to enter the common pipeline. A tanker truck then picks up the fuel and heads to the gas station. In an email to Verify, Patrick DeHaan, who's the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, explained that it's nearly impossible to know where the gas originated from. He said, quote, "Because of all the various changes in process and refineries can purchase mixed oils together of similar quality, it's just impossible to know. So we can verify, no. You can't tell if the gas you purchase at a gas station comes from Russia. It's likely made up of crude oil sources from the U.S. and several other countries." With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
It seems just about every day we hear about one of our Facebook friends getting hacked. It's enough to put any social media user on high alert for scams. So some users were skeptical about an email requiring enrollment in Facebook Protect, which offers to check your account for vulnerabilities. So let's verify. Is this email about Facebook Protect legit? Our sources are Facebook's parent company, Meta. Meta first introduced Facebook Protect ahead of the 2020 election. Gleicher explained on Twitter that its main goal was to increase the use of two-factor authentication, which makes it harder to hack into an account. In December 2021, Meta broadened Facebook Protect to accounts that it identified as having the potential to reach more people than average users, such as people with many followers or who run important pages or hold some community significance. It also made their enrollment in Facebook Protect mandatory and is communicating with these users by email. So, yes, this email about Facebook Protect is legit. Facebook says the emails will come from security@facebookmail.com, and to verify the links, go to facebook.com by hovering over them to ensure they're real. Most accounts aren't eligible for Facebook Protect, but Facebook says anyone can turn on two-factor authentication themselves to increase their account security. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Eating applesauce like my daughter Sophie.
Tommy!
Why are you doing it with a fork?
I always eat it with a fork.
Okay, we're out of time. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Safely.